Chapter 3:14. After shattering the two elders' palm imprints, Man Shan immediately revealed his true form. He turned into a 3,000 zhang tall silver-backed giant bear. After shattering the two elders' palm imprints, Man Shan did not show any signs of weakness on the surface. In fact, he was secretly not at ease. The two blind old men in front of him must not be underestimated. Half-step void refinement realm. The two elders took a deep breath. Zichuan and the other purple-robed cultivators rushed towards them with cold expressions. Man Shan was very strong. After the greedy wolf star ocean lost its star lord, he became the strongest expert there. As Man Shan revealed his demon form, two more ugly women came to him and joined him. They protected Yu Lingkong and the other women from harm. After that, the sea beasts from all directions surrounded them. Zichuan roughly scanned the area. There were at least 400,000 sea beasts on the Star Island. Other than Man Shan and his group, there were also 7 wild beasts. Young master, what should we do? The two elders were already regretting their decision. From their point of view, the 3 women were under the protection of the old bear. If they fight the sea beasts on the Star Island, even if the people of the Purple Robe Palace could win, they would also suffer a great loss. If they knew this would happen, they would just wait at the Star Gate and not provoke this woman. However, they had already caused trouble and the two elders were also severely injured. If they were to retreat just like this, they would definitely not be willing to do so. You should deal with the trouble you caused yourself. Zichuan frowned and said coldly. However, this sentence was like a tacit agreement. It immediately made the two elders' faces turn ferocious. Both of them took a step forward and each of them turned into a 1,500 zhang tall giant with purple scales. Their vigorous aura force spread out. Since they wanted to cause trouble, they might as well go all out and slaughter the entire Star Island. Even though the opponent was a half-step void refinement realm bear demon, there was only one of them. After killing him, the rest of them were nothing to be afraid of. Retreat. Man Shan's eyes turned gloomy. He knew that today's battle was unavoidable. Originally, he did not want to get involved in this matter and let the 3 women be captured. However, he was determined to save them. Among them, 60% of the reason was because of his void fragmentation realm background. 30% of it was because of his ocean overturning devil might. The last reason was because the old bear quite liked his personality. He didn't like to talk much and didn't like to be ostentatious, but once he made a move, it would be a huge operation that would turn the world upside down. Liu Bei sits in the south and I sit in the north. We occupy Star Island together, and we've been neighbors on Star Island for a few months. If you want to touch his woman, you'll have to ask my fist first. Man Shan released his aura. Under this aura, the wind and clouds moved and the mountains and rivers shook. Countless sea beasts revealed looks of reverence. It had been many years since they had seen the old bear so fierce. If it weren't for the sake of swallowing the star-tempering purple zoysha and getting rid of the body of Star Soul, the old bear wouldn't have stayed silent in the sea of stars for so many years. He would have already defeated one of the 4 sacred demons and become the king of the sea. Liu Bei? Zichuan frowned. Where did this person come from? He actually had 3 divine transformation females as his wives and concubines. Moreover, they even had Man Shan, who was a half-step void refinement realm expert. As for the Kunwa elders, they didn't have as many thoughts as Zichuan did. The two of them transformed into giants and struck out with their palms. Strands of soul power swirled around their fingertips before condensing into a huge purple palm print. Purple light flowed in reverse, and there was a terrifying aura that sucked in soul power. As the palm print slammed out, pieces of the void collapsed one after another, and the Star Island shook violently. Great profound soul imprint. 2 soul palms approached him. All of a sudden, Man Shan let out a thunderous roar. His aura suddenly rose and silver light shone around his body. He opened his mouth and swallowed the 2 palm prints. Mountain swallowing technique. After Man Shan displayed this technique, the 2 ugly women revealed a satisfied look. This is the mountain swallowing technique that my husband created. He uses starlight to refine his internal organs. Almost all attacks below the void refinement realm can be swallowed in a single gulp. No matter how many people you have, as long as you can't launch a void refinement realm attack, you won't be able to hurt my husband. Is that so? The Kunwu elders sneered. The power of this palm print was not something that could be swallowed easily. Man Shan swallowed the 2 palm prints in a single gulp. However, he did not take even half a step back. His aura was as steady as a mountain. In Man Shan's eyes, the body refinement realm of the 2 Kunwu elders was far inferior to his. The power of these 2 palm prints could be said to be as light as scratching an itch. However, after the palm prints entered his abdomen, his expression immediately changed. His internal organs were strong enough to withstand all attacks below the void refinement realm. However, the power of these palm prints was too strange. It did not attack his physical body at all. Instead, it directly attacked his soul. The demon's soul was heavily injured, and the barbarian mountain giant body was forced back 100 miles. It crushed mountains and rivers before it could stabilize itself. Its eyes were filled with anger. What a despicable palm print. It specializes in attacking the soul. It's far from enough to defeat me with this palm print. Star healing technique. Lao Xiong roared furiously, and the starlight from the heavenly cycle starry sea immediately entered his huge body like a tide. The wounds to his soul were instantly healed. This scene caused the complexions of the 2 Kunwu elders to change. Even Zichuan's eyes flashed. Starlight body tempering technique? No, it shouldn't be. This bear must have obtained some kind of opportunity that allowed it to use a trace of starlight to heal its injuries. However, this isn't the real starlight tempering technique. It's just an imitation. It's also because the Kunwu elder's great profound soul seal wasn't cultivated to perfection. Otherwise, this bear demon wouldn't be able to recover so easily. Man Shan was furious. He was so ferocious in the past that he could fight the 4 sacred demons alone and escape unscathed. But now, he was injured by the sneak attack of the Kunwu 2 elders. This was a great loss of face. However, Man Shan had no choice but to admit that the great profound palm imprint of the 2 Kunwu elders was indeed extremely profound. It seemed to be a little too arrogant for him to fight the 2 of them alone. Bitches, fuck. Help me kill them. Alright. The 2 ugly women were standard traditional women. In front of outsiders, they would never make any decision without their husband's order. Of course, when they returned home, the 2 of them would become the leaders of the family. Then, the 2 of them revealed their peak divine transformation realm cultivation base, and each of them transformed into 2,000 zhang large bears. The moment they revealed their true forms, they immediately surrounded one of the 2 Kunwu elders. A mere peak divine transformation realm cultivator. The eyes of the 2 Kunwu elders were filled with disdain. However, at the next moment, all of their disdain turned into disbelief. The 2 ugly women were just peak divine transformation realm cultivators. It wasn't difficult for the 2 Kunwu elders to kill them. However, when they attacked together, their attacks were not any weaker than a half-step void refinement realm cultivator. Being caught off guard, the giant armor of one of the elders was directly cracked by the bare palms of the 2 women. The tremendous force even sent him flying 100 li away. Man Shan took the opportunity to roar. He had never been afraid of anyone in a one-on-one battle. Die for me. Boom! Even though he was already prepared, the other elder was still sent flying 10,000 zhang away by Man Shan's punch. The 2 elders had never expected that the 2 ugly women who were merely peak divine transformation realm cultivators could be so strong. Due to their carelessness, the 2 of them fought against their enemies respectively. Gradually, their attacks were at a disadvantage. It was only a matter of time before they were defeated by the bear demons. Trash. Zichuan's eyes turned gloomy. These 2 Kunwu elders were really good for nothings. If it wasn't for the fact that he still needed to rely on their strength in the future, he really wished that the 2 of them could die under the bear demon's palms. No matter how unfilial the people of my purple robe palace are, we aren't people that animals like you can bully and humiliate. Sword crystals appear. Zichuan patted his storage pouch and took out 3 purple crystals. Without any hesitation, he crushed the 3 crystals with his palm. In an instant, 3 rays of sword chi that emitted shocking purple chi surrounded Zichuan's body. In the blink of an eye, they turned into 3 rays of incomparably sharp sword light that moved 1,000 li away, slashing towards the 3 bears of Manshan. On the battlefield, everyone's eyes were focused on Manshan, Kunmo elders and the others. No one noticed Zichuan's attack at all. This person was at the mid-divine transformation realm. Although his talent was not bad, his cultivation level was not worth mentioning. However, Manshan and the others had neglected one point. Zichuan was the young master of an aristocratic family. He had a trump card that ordinary divine transformation realm cultivators could not hope to have. Sword crystals. They were condensed from the sword intent of an early void refinement realm sword cultivator. Each of the crystals contained the full power of a sword cultivator. 3 pieces of sword crystals meant 3 rays of void refinement realm sword chi. When the 3 rays of sword chi collided, an unimaginable whistling sword wind was immediately formed. Then, 1 was shattered into 10, 10 was shattered into 100 millions of sword shadows. Some were real, some were fake, some were fake, some were fake, some were real, and all of them sealed off the 3 bears' escape routes. Void Refinement Realm Sword Chi. Yuling Kong and Wu Yan's beautiful faces turned pale. Sword crystals were condensed from sword intent. They carried the full power of a sword cultivator expert's attack. It couldn't be any better as a trump card for the younger generation to protect themselves. However, it consumed a lot of effort to create them. Therefore, every sword crystal that contained sword chi above the void refinement realm was a priceless item. This was because an ordinary sword crystal was enough to give a vein opening realm junior the power to kill a peak divine transformation realm cultivator. That Zichuan had actually crushed 3 of such precious items with a single palm strike. It was enough to show how highly valued he was in his clan and sect. The scariest thing was that Zichuan's sneak attack caught Manshan and the others off guard. They were entangled with Kunwa Mountain and were attacked from both sides at the same time. It was highly likely that they would die under the sword light. The 2 ladies understood that the reason why Manshan protected them was because in his eyes, they were Ning Fan's women. The 2 ladies were unwilling to admit this identity in front of him. However, after going through so much together, they more or less agreed to it. If Manshan dies under the sword light, how could the 2 ladies survive? If they fall into the hands of the perverted disciples of the Purple Robe's palace, it would be better for them to die. Yu Lingkong helplessly realized that she could not bear to be humiliated by such a perverted disciple like Ning Fan. So what if it's the Void Refinement Realm Sword Light? I'm going to fight you to the death. Burning blood. Ning Fan was not the only one who was willing to burn his blood. Any demon with courage would dare to burn their blood and fight with their lives. There was a palm imprint in front of him. However, Manshan did not even look at it and took the attack head-on. Then, he opened his mouth and swallowed the Void Refinement Realm Sword Light. The Great Soul palm imprint heavily injured Manshan's demon soul. The Void Refinement Realm Sword Light made the internal defense that he was proud of begin to crumble. However, he forcefully suppressed his injuries with the starlight around his body after he ignited his blood. Then, he took a huge step forward and opened his mouth to suck in the sword light that was attacking the 2 ugly women. This sword light was too powerful. Even if he was the one who was ambushed by the sword light, he would only be severely injured. However, if the 2 peak divine transformation realm women were hit by it, they would certainly die. I have been cultivating my demon cultivation all my life. I didn't give you any benefits. But I can't let you die. Roar. The old bear swallowed the 3 void refinement realm sword lights and let them pierce his body. However, he was fearless. Husband. The 2 ugly women desperately blocked the attack of the old bear. Their eyes were filled with tears as they looked at the old bear. Don't cry. Remember to ask Liu Bei to avenge me. Even if I die, I will self-detonate and drag one of them down with me. At this moment, the old bear was surprised to find out that he had broken through the bottleneck of the void refinement realm that he originally couldn't break through. Good news. He didn't expect that the crisis of life and death would actually allow him to break through the bottleneck. In that case, as long as he goes into seclusion for 80 to 100 years, he would be able to break through to the void refinement realm easily. Unfortunately, I won't have the chance to attain the void refinement realm anymore. Asking Liu Bei to avenge me? I won't accept it. Man Shan's body was surrounded by bloody light. That was the sign that his blood had been ignited to the extreme and he was about to self-detonate. Kunwu was scared. Even Zichuan's expression changed greatly. Idiot! If this bear runs away, he won't die easily. If he doesn't do anything about it, he won't die either. Why did he save them? Why did he risk his life to protect his two ugly wives? Idiot! Before Zichuan's voice faded away, a golden ray of light tore through the sky and flew towards them. That gold immortal did not stop. A trace of purple smoke drifted out and landed in front of Man Shan, standing on the head of his giant bear. His eyes looked at the two elders of Kunwu and Zichuan. His eyes were like ice that would never melt for 10,000 years. Ning Fan is here. Void refinement realm escaping light. Who has come here? Zichuan's expression changed greatly. As for Ning Fan, he did not have the mood to explain to him. Man Shan isn't an idiot. He has his own Tao. However, if it's to protect his obsession, it doesn't matter even if his Tao is destroyed and his body dies. A surge of baleful qi that soared into the sky turned into clouds of baleful qi, dyeing the clouds within 10,000 li red. Liu Bei, avenge me. Shut up. I don't like owing a man a favor. Ning Fan moved and slapped on the top of the old bear's head. The three traces of sword qi that were wreaking havoc in the old bear's body were pulled out by his palm and shot towards Zichuan and the others. The sword qi was forcefully swallowed by the old bear and its momentum was broken. Now, it was possible to pull it out. If the old bear's physical body was slightly weaker, Ning Fan would not be able to pull out the sword qi that entered his body. The three traces of sword qi attacked Zichuan and Kunwu elders respectively. They turned into rays of sword light that filled the sky and drowned all the experts of the Purple Robe's palace. Extracting the sword qi. This young man can extract the void refinement realm sword qi. Could he be Liu Bei? Zichuan's expression darkened. Ning Fan's appearance made him unprecedentedly nervous. It was not because of Ning Fan's cultivation base but because of the baleful qi that dyed the world red from his body. How many divine transformation realm experts had this young man killed to have such terrifying baleful qi that could condense evil clouds? This young man is just an early divine transformation realm cultivator. However, why would the dignified Zichuan's soul tremble in front of him? Ning Fan pointed his finger and the sword light shattered. Being drowned by the sword light, the armors of the two old giants of Kunwu were broken. They retreated from their Dharma images with severe injuries. Their cultivation base had almost dropped to the half-step void refinement realm. The group of 12 divine transformation realm experts and 100 nascent soul realm experts of the Purple Robe's palace began to wail in agony under the sword light. At the critical moment, Zichuan took out 3 more pieces of sword crystals and crushed them to cancel out the reflected sword light. Even so, the nascent soul realm experts of the Purple Robe's palace were all killed by Ning Fan. Even among the 12 divine transformation realm experts that Zichuan brought with him, 3 of them died and 4 of them were injured. Man Shan was not dead yet. If Ning Fan was half a step late and his body was destroyed by the sword qi, he would certainly choose to self-detonate and perish together with his enemies. At this moment, he was lucky enough to keep his life. Even though he was severely injured, he managed to break through the bottleneck of the void refinement realm because of it. It could be said that he had gained a lot. However, Ning Fan's chest was still filled with anger. In his world, he would always be alone. His cauldrons were just passers-by while his brothers were just a sad past. However, today, Man Shan's fearless aura and his determination to ask Liu Bei to avenge him made Ning Fan's cold blood unable to calm down. Today, no matter who you are, don't even think about walking out of the Star Sea alive. Puff! The 2 old men of Kunwu coughed out blood heavily. They were so angry that they laughed instead. Interesting. An early divine transformation realm cultivator came out of nowhere and used some unknown method to absorb the sword chi and resist the sword light just because he thought that he was amazing. He even dared to say that he wants us to die in the star sea? Is there any joke more ridiculous than this in this world? However, at the next moment, the two old men of Kunwo were shocked when they met Ning Fan's gaze. At this moment, the baleful chi in the sky and the blood mist that covers 10,000 li turned into a gigantic blood eye that was condensed from baleful chi. When they met Ning Fan's gaze, the two old men of Kunwo felt as if they were being looked down at by that bloody eye from the heavens. It was a cold gaze that looked down on the common people. That kind of coldness was ingrained in his bones. It was the persistence of killing millions of people for the sake of his obsession. Baleful chi condenses into clouds. Baleful clouds condense into eyes. This young man is a natural genius in the Tao of killing. If the Slaughter Palace of the Four Heavens finds out about this, they will certainly recruit him as their disciple regardless of the cost. Why did they offend such a ruthless person? Rumor has it that the Slaughter Palace would only accept one disciple every 1,000 years. Each disciple would be a fiendish star that no one would dare to offend in the Four Heavens. However, no matter how monstrous Ning Fan's potential was and how strong his baleful chi was, the two old men of Kunwo did not believe that he had the strength to kill them in the Star Sea. However, if they find out what Ning Fan had done in the Star Sea during this period of time, they would definitely be scared away. If the two old men of Kunwo knew that Ning Fan, who was just below the blood ignition realm, could eat half-step void refinement realm beings like pigs and dogs, they would rather die than provoke him. Unfortunately, they were destined not to have the chance to find out. You are Liu Bei, right? Your potential is not bad. However, even if your cultivation base is twice as high, you are still not a match for us. I would like to see what kind of methods you have to kill the experts of my Purple Robe Palace in the Star Sea. The two old men of Kunwo sneered. They did not believe it. They still did not believe that Ning Fan had the strength to kill them. However, even if they did not believe it, why would Ning Fan need to explain it to them? I don't need to do it myself to kill all of you. All the slaves in the Star Sea, follow my order. Hurry up and head to the Star Island to kill the evil creatures of the Purple Robe Palace. Those who disobey shall have their entire clans annihilated. Ning Fan's voice instantly spread to 30,000 li. With the help of the evil clouds, his voice traveled even further. 300,000 li. 3 million li. Evil sound. This young man not only turned his evil into clouds, condensed his evil into his eyes, but also shattered his evil into sound. Zichuan's eyes were filled with shock. However, this shock turned into great astonishment in less than 10 breaths later. With the Star Island as the center, sea beasts were constantly flying out of the sea that could be seen with the naked eye. Their faces were filled with fear. There were 3 great forces that were closest to the Star Island. Each of them had brought 100,000 sea beasts with them. A total of 10 Divine Transformation Realm experts were dispatched to reinforce the Star Island. The clan leaders of the 3 clans were Divine Transformation Realm Wilderness Generals. However, facing Ning Fan, they did not even dare to raise their heads. Instead, they lowered their heads and cupped their fists in fear. The Flying Locust Clan, the Poison Ant Clan and the Mirage Devouring Clan have come to the Star Island late. Please forgive us, Star Lord. After 100 breaths, another 4 great forces hurriedly flew to the Star Island. Perhaps because they were too far away from each other, the 4 forces only sent out 4 great experts. However, each of them was at the peak Divine Transformation Realm. The City Lords of Murong City, Fallen Phoenix City, Chaotic Snow City and Hateful Heaven City have come late. Please forgive us, Star Lord. After 1,000 breaths, 3 half-step void refinement realm old men flew over from different directions. They looked at Ning Fan with complicated expressions. Eventually, they cupped their fists and bowed. The country lords of Dao Yen Country, Profound Sword Country and Heavenly Worship Country have come late. Please forgive us, Star Lord. The forces of the demon race that were further away could not come to the Star Island. However, they kept sending messages through the air using their flying swords. Each of them was a special kind of sound-transmitting flying sword that could only be activated at great cost. This kind of sound-transmitting flying sword could even transmit sound from hundreds of millions of li away in an instant. However, the number of words it could transmit was pitifully small. The sound-transmitting flying swords exploded one after another, turning into frightened voices. However, all of them were voices of flattery and obedience. The Guyun country has sealed off the sea region. The traitors must die when they arrive. Please forgive us, Star Lord. The Wolf King City has sent out their demon army. They will arrive at the Star Island in half a month. Please forgive us, Star Lord. The Northern Sea Star Dragon is ready to go after the traitors at any time. Please forgive us, Star Lord. The enemies of Ningfan in the past were subdued one by one. In the past 2 months, Ningfan had almost annihilated half of the wild beasts in the greedy wolf Star Ocean. No one dared to disobey him. None of them knew if Ningfan would have another trump card that would cause him to burn his blood again. Who could stop him? Star Lord. They addressed Ningfan as the Star Lord because in this greedy wolf Star Ocean, other than Ningfan, even the Old Bear and the Star Dragon did not have the devil might to intimidate the entire Star Ocean. In the distance, where the sea and the sky met, the sea was densely packed with sea beasts that were rushing to reinforce them. At this moment, the 2 elders of Kunwu were afraid. This person was Liu Bei. With just a command from him, all the sea beasts within the sea would die for him. We must retreat. We can't stay in this greedy wolf Star Ocean any longer. They had no choice but to be fearful. What they were facing was not just Ningfan alone but the power of the entire sea region. He was Liu Bei. He was the Star Lord of this greedy wolf Star Ocean. Retreat. Zichuan's eyes flashed with determination. He knew very well that if he doesn't retreat now, it would be impossible for him to do so anymore. However, before he could take out an escaped treasure, Ningfan directly took a step forward. His great momentum turned into a sword and sent Zichuan flying down from the sky. Trying to leave? Don't you think it's too late? Chapter 315. Ningfan's domineering step caused Zichuan, who was caught off guard, to fall from the sky. Zichuan barely steadied himself, revealing a cold expression. How dare you hurt me? So what if I hurt you? There was no room for mercy. Just the forces sent to reinforce the Star Island were more than enough to annihilate the Purple Dress Palace. The 2 elders of Kunwo were surrounded by the 3 half-step void refinement realm experts. Within the blink of an eye, they were forced to retreat continuously. It was only a matter of time before they were killed. The other experts of the Purple Dress Palace were already surrounded by the sea of astral sea fiends, who mercilessly beat them up. Polite? There was no need to be polite with them. In the hearts of countless members of the Sea Clan, Ningfan had already become the Star Lord of the greedy wolf Star Ocean. It was not only because of Ningfan's devil might but also because Ningfan could make the Star Lords of the other 2 seas fearful of him. After the greedy wolf Star Lord had left for thousands of years, he could stabilize the situation of the 3 seas and prevent the greedy wolf Star Sea from being bullied by the other seas. No beast in the Star Ocean dared to disobey the orders of the Star Lord. Not to mention winning with numbers and ganging up on these so-called upper realm heavenly prides. Even if they were outnumbered and risked their lives for Ningfan like the Old Bear, there would still be many hot-blooded sea beasts that would follow Ningfan's lead. With the strength of a single person, he overturned the Sea of Stars and wreaked havoc in the world. This person was qualified to be the master of the voracious wolf tribe. Wherever the Star Lord's sword pointed, the demons only needed to do one thing. Kill, kill, kill. Old Bear was stunned. He had heard of hundreds responding to a single call. He had also heard a little about throwing a whip to break a river. However, such a scene where all the experts from the Sea of Stars showed up only happened during the War of the 3 Seas. Ever since Ravenous Wolf disappeared and the 3 seas lost their balance, such battles had become rare. The Ravenous Wolf Star Ocean was split up and divided among the major forces. Excited? Lao Xiong was extremely excited. It had been many years since he had experienced such a group fight. He wanted to follow behind Ning Fan and give Zichuan a good beating. However, it was a pity that he could only dream about it. His two ugly wives would not let him risk his life when he was seriously injured. "My husband, you cannot die. If you die, the two of us will not live alone." The two ugly wives were quite sincere. "Scram, I don't want to die. I haven't lived long enough. Who would want to die if they could? Are you crazy?" Lao Xiong couldn't fight, so he was very annoyed. Wu Yan's and Yu Lingkong's beautiful faces turned pale. As the golden flame chariot descended, she ran and Yuan Yao came down from it. Now, the two of them were even more shocked. After a round of slaughter, Ning Fan actually became the lord of a group of beasts in the end? If this was in the human race, it would be unimaginable, but in the demon race, it was a normal thing. Why couldn't the strong be called kings? From the moment Ning Fan forced the two Star Lords to retreat, his devil might had risen to an unprecedented level. Even a half-step void refinement realm expert would not dare to disregard his orders. This little cucumber is too domineering. If I didn't injure myself, and if I didn't lose my cultivation, I would also want to have a fight with him. Yu Lingkong recovered her boorish personality. "Brother Liu Bei, you're amazing." She cheered from the side. "Why did you call him brother? Also your body?" Wu Yan blushed. She could tell at a glance that Shi Ran was no longer a virgin. 2 months ago, this little girl was still thinking about how to teach Ning Fan a lesson. 2 months later, she had already given herself to Ning Fan along with her body? But it's all Sister Bei Yao's fault. It's all her fault for bewitching Liu Bei. Shi Ran pointed at Yuan Yao and betrayed her. "Bei Yao? This lady has a very noble aura. Is she a heaven's pride of the divine race?" Wu Yan let out a faint sigh. She sighed because Ning Fan's ability to take in a harem was just too amazing. After going out for 2 months, he managed to get rid of Shi Ran and even took in one more person. "Shi Ran, don't talk nonsense." Yuan Yao hurriedly covered Shi Ran's mouth with an embarrassed expression. She decided to bury what happened that day in her heart and never tell anyone about it. Yuan Yao's gaze swept across Ning Fan. She could not help but feel astonished. It was no wonder that she had never been attacked by any sea beasts ever since she was saved by Ning Fan. It turned out that the entire sea of stars had been subdued by Ning Fan, who was just an early divine transformation realm young man. It would be great if he was born in the northern heaven. With his aptitude and temperament, I'm afraid he would be able to be ranked in the top 3 of the northern heaven. No, perhaps he would be the first. If he's given enough time, even if he only cultivates the yin-yang transformation, perhaps he could also reach my level. Perhaps he could. Yuan Yao's phoenix-like eyes softened and a hint of expectation flashed across them. However, this expectation immediately turned into a self-mocking smile. "What's wrong with me? That matter was just a ridiculous act. After the trip to the Star Palace, I probably won't meet him again. What am I looking forward to? How silly." Yuan Yao's gaze moved around the ladies and sighed softly. Ning Fan would not be lonely. He had countless beauties. Why would he care about Bei Yao, who was merely a one-night stand? However, isn't this young man a little too bold? He even dared to kill the people of the Purple Robes Palace. Perhaps after I return to the Lost World Palace, I'll help him settle some troubles in the Northern Heaven. That would be better. Yuan Yao muttered to herself. Since the ladies still had the mood to let their imaginations run wild, it meant that there was no room for them to worry about the current situation. Basically, all the experts of the Purple Robes Palace were killed. The 2 Kunwu elders also turned into 2 incomplete primordial spirits in just a moment. They were captured by the 3 half-step void refinement realm experts and were prepared to offer them to Ning Fan later. Zichuan's expression turned gloomy. In just 10 breaths' time, all the forces on his side were annihilated. In other words, even though he was the first one to enter the Star Palace, all of them were defeated in the end. Let alone competing for the star of the Heavenly Emperor with the other Heaven's Pride experts, it would be difficult for him to survive. Break! Zichuan crushed another sword crystal and shot out an early Void Refinement Realm sword light. It was his 7th early Void Refinement Realm sword crystal. He brought a total of 10 sword crystals with him during this trip. 9 of them were early Void Refinement Realm and 1 of them was mid-Void Refinement Realm. Under the attack of the sword light from the sword crystal, the Divine Transformation Realm experts at the side sucked in a cold breath and their faces were filled with fear. No wonder Old Bear was injured. No wonder Liu Bei Star-Lord could stop Zichuan as soon as he arrived. Zichuan's cultivation base is not high but his methods are quite ruthless. The 3 half-step Void Refinement Realm experts felt a chill down their spines when they saw Old Bear's miserable injuries. They could withstand this early Void Refinement Realm sword light. However, if they do, they would most likely become the next Old Bear. This sword light is a little tricky. Should we go and help the Star-Lord? The 3 of them looked at each other and asked. However, their question was interrupted by Old Bear. No need. Have you all forgotten how strong this brat is? Have you all forgotten who was the one who destroyed the Star Sea alone? Have you all forgotten that the heaven-defying methods of this brat are not any weaker than the sword crystals? Looking at the incoming sword light, Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He imitated Old Bear's posture and opened his mouth to swallow it. Mountain devouring technique. With a sudden inhale, he absorbed the starlight into his abdomen and allowed the sword light to explode inside his body. His action made Old Bear and the others' expressions change. Damn! This Liu Bei imitated my demonic technique. However, my internal organs have been tempered for thousands of years to be able to swallow magic techniques and magic treasures. It's obvious that he has never tempered his internal organs before. How dare he swallow the sword light? Indeed, Ning Fan's internal organs could not withstand the sword light. However, at the moment when the sword light entered his body, he immediately shattered his body to disperse the sword force. At the moment when his black shadow condensed again, his fingertip tapped 17 times on the sword light at lightning speed. Eventually, he broke the momentum of the sword chi and kept the sword light back into his sleeve. After that, it condensed back into a piece of purple crystal and he stared at Zichuan coldly. You aren't a sword cultivator. This kind of sword chi is just a waste in your hands. Indeed, if Zichuan was proficient in the Tao of Sword, the power of this sword chi in his hands would definitely not be limited to this. Ning Fan also did not dare to risk his Divine Transformation Realm cultivation to subdue this sword chi. The reason why Ning Fan was able to draw out Old Bear's sword chi and subdue it was not only because he had the sword consciousness and his incarnation. The biggest reason was that Zichuan's Tao of Sword was too weak. He was not a sword cultivator. He could use this sword crystal to deal with ordinary people. However, when facing experts in the Tao of Sword, the sword chi would be full of loopholes. As long as he finds the loopholes, it would not be difficult to seize the sword chi. Incarnation. You actually seized my sword chi with your incarnation. If Zichuan could still conceal the fact that Ning Fan had drawn out Old Bear's sword chi earlier, he could no longer remain calm after seeing Ning Fan subduing the Void Refinement Realm sword chi. Zichuan did not have a Void Fragmentation Realm divine ability like Incarnation. However, Divine Transformation Realm experts who had incarnations were rare in the 9 worlds. Zichuan had met 1 or 2 people in the 4 heavens. However, those people definitely could not subdue the Void Refinement Realm sword chi with their Divine Transformation Realm cultivation base and incarnation techniques. Not only did Ning Fan have incarnations, but he also certainly had some kind of divine ability that was extremely effective against sword chi. Zichuan did not think about the sword sense and there was no need for him to think about it either. What he needed to know was not how strong Ning Fan was. At this moment he only wanted to protect himself. With his mid-Divine Transformation Realm cultivation base, he could even fight against a late Divine Transformation Realm expert. However, with the strength of a late Divine Transformation Realm expert, he would not be able to escape from the encirclement of the sea of beasts and humans. I still have 3 traces of sword chi. The mid-Void Refinement Realm sword chi must be used to save my life. Alright. I will use 2 traces of early Divine Transformation Realm sword chi to eliminate Liu Bei. No matter how powerful this person's incarnation is, he is just an early Divine Transformation Realm cultivator after all. If he can even withstand 2 Void Refinement Realm attacks, I, Zichuan, will never be a match for him in my entire life. I don't believe that I will lose to him. Zichuan's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. He broke 2 pieces of sword crystals in a row. This time, he tried to pull the sword light into a sword thread by relying on his not-so-profound cultivation base in the Tao of Sword. In the end, even though it looked like he had done it correctly, the 2 dazzling sword lights became much thinner and their power became much purer. It's another 2 traces of Void Refinement Realm Sword Chi. Besides, this young man seems to have reached the threshold of transforming the sword into a thread. This young man is not simple. Should we help the Star Lord? The 3 half-step Void Refinement Realm experts sounded a little timid. They did not even dare to fight against 2 traces of Void Refinement Realm Sword Chi. Help my ass. What if the 2 Star Lords, 7 Kills and Army Breaking Star, were to receive this sword chi instead? Of course it would be easy. Especially the Star Lord of 7 Kills who cultivates the sword wholeheartedly. Do you think the Star Lord would put this kind of weak sword chi in his eyes? The 3 half-step Void Refinement Realm experts said disdainfully. That's right. Don't look down on Liu Bei. He used his own strength to scare away 2 Star Lords. Have you guys forgotten? The old bear might seem simple and honest, but he was actually very meticulous. A truly intelligent person would not show his intelligence on his face. A truly ruthless person would not nag and release his domineering aura everywhere. Just like Ning Fan, who was a man of few words and a little submissive. If he does not get angry, others would think that he was a sick cat. The old bear's words made the 3 half-step Void Refinement Realm experts fall into deep thought. Their eyes became even more focused as they watched the battle between Ning Fan and Zichuan. In the past, they had only heard about how strong Ning Fan was. However, it was their first time seeing Ning Fan in action. What kind of method will the Star Lord use to block the 2 traces of Void Refinement Realm Sword Chi? The eyes of the 3 of them were filled with anticipation. If they could learn even the slightest bit of benefit from Ning Fan's method, it would already be extremely good. Your sword is too weak. Transforming the sword into a thread isn't like that. Ning Fan's words were cold. Without any hesitation, he crushed the sword crystal. The combined attack of the 2 sword chis couldn't be achieved by relying on the incarnation. He couldn't bear to part with the precious sword crystal. As soon as the sword crystal shattered, the sword light appeared in Ning Fan's hand. Threads of sword silk were peeled off by Ning Fan and entangled in the clouds secretly. It gave people goosebumps just by looking at it. They had no idea how to deal with such a large amount of sword silk. The true sword transformation into silk. Zichuan's gaze dimmed. His pride had been defeated by Ning Fan time and time again. He could no longer be as arrogant as he was in the beginning. His bone age was 700 years, and he had cultivated to the middle stage of soul formation, so he thought that his talent was invincible. However, Ning Fan, who was standing in front of them, had a bone age of less than 400 years. Yet, he was proficient in many techniques such as incarnation, sword turning into threads, and so on. Moreover, he could command the entire Star Sea, and no one dared to disobey him. In front of Ning Fan, how could I be considered as a heaven's pride? But you definitely won't be able to take it. In Zichuan's palm, he secretly gripped the last sword crystal tightly. The sword chi attack of the mid-void refinement realm. Ning Fan was indifferent towards Zichuan's provocation. His vision was gradually shrouded by the sword light. His body was as straight as a sword as he pointed out 2 fingers. The first finger could shatter mountains. The second finger could shatter the heavens. Under these 2 fingers, Zichuan's face was filled with disbelief. Yuan Yao was even more shocked. Sword finger technique. Among the many sword techniques of the sword ancestor, only this sword finger technique was lost. I didn't expect it to fall into his hands. Sword finger. 5 fingers can kill immortals and 10 fingers can nirvana. The higher the realm of this technique, the more powerful it is. He actually has such a powerful technique. If he learns the 3rd finger, he can even destroy a void refinement realm expert with his current cultivation base. Unfortunately, Ning Fan's current cultivation base was far from enough to cultivate the 3rd finger. However, it was enough to break Zichuan's sword chi. Star Island, rivers and mountains, collapse. The black sun of the heavens, collapse. Layers of collapsing force gathered at the tip of Ningfan's finger. With the help of the Void Refinement Realm Sword Light, the power of the sword silk was unprecedentedly terrifying. This finger technique was displayed with the help of the sword crystal. No one below the Void Refinement Realm could withstand it. Compared to Zichuan's clumsy method of controlling the sword crystal, Ningfan's technique was like heaven and earth. It was impossible to obtain true strength by relying on external objects. Just as Ningfan uttered the word, Zichuan's 2 traces of sword chi collapsed. The sword light also collapsed at the right time and reformed into a sword crystal. As for Ningfan's countless sword silk, it was like a tangled mess, making it impossible for Zichuan to evade. I'm not as good as him. I'm actually not as good as him. Zichuan gritted his teeth. He took out a purple jade pendant that was exquisitely carved from jade and crushed it. At the moment he crushed the jade pendant, purple wind suddenly rose in front of him, turning into 17 layers of purple chi barriers to protect him. However, under Ningfan's sword silk, all of the 17 layers of barriers collapsed without exception. The remaining sword silk shook Zichuan's body and shattered his sword light. In the midst of the collapsing sword light, Zichuan's entire body was bathed in blood. His spiritual equipment and protective armor were shattered and he was beyond recognition. Ningfan, on the other hand, caught the 2 pieces of sword crystal calmly. He had used up one and obtained the other 2. Liu Bei, I'll remember you. You're a strong expert. Zichuan took a deep breath and crushed the last mid-void refinement realm sword crystal in his sleeve. Zichuan's eyes suddenly flashed with madness when he sent out his sword chi with his palm. His finger seals changed abruptly, igniting his physical body and primordial spirit. Liu Bei, I'm looking forward to the battle above the 4 heavens with you. Life-burning technique, explode. His physical body exploded and his primordial spirit was incinerated into ashes. Zichuan detonated everything he had and channeled all the power of his self-destruction into that ray of sword light. Originally, his sword technique was far from enough to completely activate the destructive power of this sword light. However, when he risked his life and sacrificed his blood to the sword, it was different. This ray of sword light, which was infused with blood chi, was definitely not any weaker than the sure kill attack of a true mid-void refinement realm sword cultivator. Under this ray of sword light, the Star Island was split into 2 without any warning. Even the sea of stars below was split in half by the sword light. This is bad. Now we really have to help Liu Bei. Even the other 2 Star Lords would find it hard to withstand this ray of sword chi. No need. This sword light can be subdued. Ningfan's eyes turned solemn. Zichuan seemed to have self-detonated and poured his blood chi into this sword. However, there were other settings. Zichuan's settings were that once this sword light is blocked by Ningfan, he would disperse his blood chi, allowing Ningfan to completely subdue this ray of sword chi. This last attack did not seem to be a fight to the death but a gift of sword chi. Even though I witnessed Zichuan's death with my own eyes, judging from the words he said before he died and the gift of sword chi, he might not be dead yet. I'm afraid he escaped using some kind of ability that I can't understand. However, this last attack of his had dispersed all of his hostility. All that was left was an equal battle intent. This is a challenge. If he is really not dead, this will be the challenge letter that he issued to me. Wait for me to ascend to the 4 heavens and fight him. Ningfan frowned. He did not like to cut the grass without removing the roots. However, at this moment, he had no choice but to block this ray of sword chi. Star positioning plate, appear. He pointed a finger at his glabella and took out a starlight formation plate. All of a sudden, a dense star map spread under his feet and 30,000 star lamps rose. Ignite! He channeled all of his magic power into the star positioning plate, making only 5,000 star lamps light up. 5,000 star lamps were enough to withstand the attack of a half-step void refinement realm expert. However, it was still not enough. Soul extraction. Ning Fan clawed at the sea of stars with his 5 fingers and displayed the soul extraction technique. The demons who knew that he knew the soul extraction technique were not surprised. However, Yuan Yao did not know about it. That was why she was surprised once again. This divine transformation realm expert whom she had underestimated a little had actually mastered the soul extraction technique. This person's innate potential was rarely matched by anyone in the young generation. As he displayed the soul extraction technique, Ning Fan's magic power increased to the late divine transformation realm, making 9,999 star lamps light up. He gritted his teeth and suddenly changed his hand's seal. 10,000 star lamps lit up. At this moment, the star formation of the star positioning plate was enough to defend against a true early void refinement realm attack. Not enough. It's still not enough. In order to block this mid-void refinement realm sword light, he must light up 30,000 star lamps. Since he could not use his magic power to light up the star lamps, he would use the power of the broken treasures to light them up. After washing the sea of stars with blood, Ning Fan took out the demon treasures one by one and crushed them. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000, from the lowest grade pill treasures to the highest grade spiritual treasures, all of them were crushed. As the star lamps were lit up one after another, the power of the star map rose steadily. When he had crushed 1,000,000 demon treasures, 30,000 star lamps were lit up. The silver flames from the 30,000 star lamps turned into countless layers of silver light walls. When the mid-void refinement realm sword chi hit the star walls, it caused them to crumble and the star formation to become unstable. However, the power of the sword chi would weaken a little every time it broke a star wall. When the last star wall collapsed, the power of the sword chi was almost depleted. Ning Fan was also in a state of overdrafting his magic power. Looking at the sword chi which had lost 90% of its power, Ning Fan formed his 5 fingers into a claw and grabbed the sword light. After the sword light shattered, it condensed into a sword crystal. At this moment, the entire star island fell into dead silence. Each of the sea beasts wore an expression of disbelief. The Star Lord blocked the mid-void refinement realm sword chi. What kind of magic treasure is this? Its defensive power is heaven-defying. Yuan Yao was the only one who heaved a sigh of relief. She was not only glad that Ning Fan blocked the sword light but also glad that Zichuan did not die. Zichuan is an abandoned person of that clan. Liu Bei, no matter how many geniuses you have killed in the Star Palace, I have ways to cover it up for you. However, Zichuan is the only one who cannot be hidden. However, you don't have to worry. Even if you really kill Zichuan, the Lost World Palace is still around. Yuan Yao smiled bitterly. This is all I can do for you. For the time being, consider it as me repaying you for protecting me. Outside the Star Palace, in the void, many forces occupied their own areas, trying to get out of the maze formation. Some of them also tried to tear the void apart, but all of them failed in the end. Who is so wicked to set up a maze formation outside the Star Palace? Shameless. Someone cursed nonstop. Wei Xian was the one who got shot. Why are the people of the Purple Robe Palace so lucky to be at the place where the maze formation was broken? They tore the void apart and entered the Star Palace. The people of the Purple Robe Palace are really lucky. What's that purple light? A trace of purple primordial spirit appeared in the maze formation out of nowhere. At the place where it appeared, there was a purple grass doll hiding in the void. As the purple smoke appeared, the grass doll immediately trembled and self-combusted. As for the purple divine thread, it gradually grew stronger in the purple flames. Eventually, it turned into a young man in purple robes. It was none other than Zichuan. As Ning Fan expected, he really did not die. Isn't that the Purple Dress Palace's young master Zichuan? Didn't he enter the Constellation Palace? Why did he come out? And he's even injured so badly. Purple grass art? It's definitely the purple grass art. Rumor has it that the strongest secret technique of the Purple Robe Palace is the creation of purple-robed grass dolls. As long as a trace of primordial spirit is attached to the grass dolls, they will be able to take the place of death. I can't believe that there are still people who can create purple-robed grass dolls in this era. Could it be that the people from the Purple Dress Palace were annihilated after entering the Star Palace for only 2 hours? No way. It seems that Zichuan was the only one who came out. The prodigies of the four heavens were all astonished. Some were fearful of the mysterious Star Palace, some were on their guard, and there were even some who took the opportunity to mock Zichuan. The White Demon Sect's Lin Su was one of the people who was happy to mock Zichuan. This person was already at the late stage of the soul formation stage. Seeing that Zichuan was in trouble, he immediately prepared to kill him. Moments later, when she saw Zichuan's crazed eyes, Lin Su stopped in her tracks and her gaze changed. The Zichuan of today seemed to be different from the past. He was no longer arrogant and aloof. Instead, he had the ambition to advance bravely. He, a mere mid-divine transformation realm cultivator, dares to come to the Star Palace to seek fortuitous encounters? How is it? It seems that all the people you brought with you are dead. It turns out that the first person to enter the Star Palace is not that amazing after all. Lin Su mocked. If your White Demon Sect were to enter the Starry Sea and encounter that person, the only thing awaiting you would be death. In fact, you might not even have my purple grass technique to save your life from that person's hands. That person is the strongest prodigy of this generation that I have ever seen. You, Lin Su, reached the late divine transformation realm in 1200 years. Your aptitude is only average in the White Demon Sect. However, in front of that person, you can't even withstand a single blow. You talk big. I, Lin Su, really want to know who is the one who annihilated your Purple Dress Palace. His name is Liu Bei. However, you don't want to meet him. He is very strong. Very strong. This strength is not referring to his cultivation but his Tao. His Tao has a kind of crazy mentality. If I were to make an analogy, it would be like this person dares to fight against an immortal emperor even though he is only a mortal. I have this kind of feeling from him. A mortal? Fight against an immortal emperor? Zichuan, could it be that your mind is not clear after you died once? Is an immortal emperor someone that a mortal can fight against? Lin Su, I won't talk to you anymore. In the future, we will fight again in the sect competition between the Purple Dress Palace and the White Demon Sect. However, you might not be able to live until that moment. The White Demon Sect can't suppress the Purple Dress Palace forever. If your White Demon Sect continues to act willfully, there will be a day when someone will investigate and take revenge for what happened to the Black Devil Sect. That day might be the day that the White Demon Sect is destroyed. You have to remember this. Zichuan let out a cold harumph and teleported away. He no longer had any greed towards the star of the Heavenly Emperor. He had been relying too much on external objects. Before the next official battle with Ning Fan, he wanted to get rid of all external objects and improve his own strength. He wanted to strive for perfection. Liu Bei, I won't lose to you the next time. After Zichuan left, Lin Su's eyes flashed with cold light and said to the two half-step void refinement realm experts beside her with dissatisfaction. Senior brothers, why didn't you seize the opportunity to kill this person? Zichuan can't be killed. The two people who were addressed as senior brothers were not the same age as Lin Su. Both of them had white hair and white beards. Their bone ages were over 4,000 years old. Why can't I kill him? Give me a reason. There is a rumor that Zichuan is an abandoned person of that clan. Even if he is an abandoned person, given the domineering nature of that clan, they won't allow anyone to harm him. What? He actually... No wonder this young man's aptitude is slightly better than mine. He is just a trash who relies on his bloodline. Lin Su said disdainfully. Then she revealed a cold smile. The person who made Zichuan speechless seems to be an expert called Liu Bei. Liu Bei. This person is just bullying the weak Zichuan. If he encounters me, even if he is a Heaven's Pride expert, he will still be trampled under my feet. Chapter 316. The intruders from the Purple Robe Palace were all killed. After getting Ning Fan's permission, the group of beasts in the Star Sea retreated. Even though the old bear's injuries were severe, his life was not in danger with the sixth revolution pill that Ning Fan gave him. It was just a matter of time for him to recover. Once he recovers, he could even try to break through the bottleneck of the void refinement realm. Liu Bei, I've risked my life to help you. You can't leave me out if you get any benefits. The old bear's smile was very cunning and not honest at all. Ning Fan did not answer him, but he did not deny it either. On the Star Island, millions of sea beasts knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Ning Fan with respectful expressions. She ran, and the other women would never forget that scene for the rest of their lives. After that battle, Ning Fan managed to block the mid-void refinement realm sword light. In other words, even if he faced the attacks of two Star Lords, he might not be able to win, but he would not lose either. He could probably use the star positioning plate to block their attacks. Almost no one doubted Ning Fan becoming the Star Lord of the Greedy Wolf Sea anymore. He had speed and defense. Even if his cultivation base was not high, he was already innately invincible. Disperse! As Ning Fan gave his order, countless shadows of beasts left the Star Island. The southern island became quiet again. It had been 3 days since Ning Fan returned to the island. He adjusted his breathing and magic power to return to his peak state. It was still the same cave dwelling. The walls of the cave were inlaid with moonlight stones. The gentle light reflected from them made Ning Fan feel absent-minded. He silently walked out of the cave dwelling and looked at the starry sky. Then he gently closed his eyes. It has been 30 years since I left you country. 30 years to the east and 30 years to the west. Is Jiha doing well? 30 years in a mortal's life is half of a lifetime. 30 years in a cultivator's life is just considered as a long seclusion and a massacre. Along the way, my hands were stained with blood and sins. However, I have no regrets and I have a clear conscience. I would rather kill the common people than let them kill me. This is the cruel reality of the cultivation world. In the past, in Yu country, a 10th level vein opening realm cultivator is considered a genius. A harmonious spirit realm cultivator is considered a heavenly prodigy, and a gold core realm cultivator is considered an old ancestor. However, I am now the Lord of the Star Sea. I control the lives of billions of pill beasts. No one can stop me in a low-grade cultivation country. In a mid-grade cultivation country, I can destroy it with a single palm. In high-grade cultivation countries, ordinary divine transformation realm old ancestors would have to take a detour when they see me. Even in the Rain Palace, I can still be a revered elder of the palace. However, it's still not enough. I went through a lot of trouble to refine the star fixing plate. I had to break 1,000,000 Dharma treasures to activate the star defense array. However, that Zichuan could casually make a move and have 10 pieces of sword crystals in his hands. Compared to those higher domain prodigies, I still lack the support of a powerful background. But they can't compare to me. I have my own Tao. Although my body is weak, my Tao can even be crushed by a single glance from immortal Emperor Zhang Qing. A lonely and desolate aura rose around Ning Fan's body. In the solitude, there was an unyielding faith. The great Tao was a cage, and cultivators were trapped beasts. Some were trapped to death, and some were still fighting. Ning Fan opened his eyes and said indifferently without turning his head, "Aren't you going to have a good rest? You've broken a bit of the seal and recovered to the late nascent soul stage? Thanks to your care, I should be able to recover to the peak of the nascent soul stage in 3 days. 10 days later, I should be able to recover to the soul formation stage. Once I reach the divine transformation realm, I should be able to protect myself with my methods. After entering the Heaven Palace, I will leave immediately to prevent the realm beasts that might exist from attacking you." Yuan Yao stepped on the fallen leaves and stopped beside Ning Fan. Her eyes were as clear as water. "Recovering to the divine transformation realm in 10 days? I can help you break some of the seals and help you recover to the divine transformation realm in 1 night. However, due to the limitation of my cultivation realm, I can only help you recover to the early divine transformation realm at most. You still have to rely on yourself for the rest. Do you really want me to leave earlier?" Yuan Yao gently bit her lips. In fact, she had lied to Ning Fan. She only needed 3 days to break some of the seals and recover to the early divine transformation realm. The reason why she decided to leave after attaining the divine transformation realm was because she did not want to owe Ning Fan too many favors. She purposely delayed the time needed to recover to the divine transformation realm because she did not know why she was reluctant to part with Ning Fan. Perhaps, she had never been cared for and protected by anyone before, and she missed the time when Ning Fan shielded her from the wind and rain. Perhaps, she was unable to truly forget the absurdity of that night. She did not know. The only thing she knew was that she was determined to leave after 10 days. However, Ning Fan said that he could help her recover to the divine transformation realm in one night. Was he trying to chase her away? But after tonight I will leave. What are you doing? How dare you? Yuan Yao could not help but feel a sense of disappointment. However, just as this feeling rose, her soft hand was held by Ning Fan. She could not help but feel a little annoyed. She was annoyed by Ning Fan's frivolous behavior. How could she let a man touch her skin with her identity? However, there seemed to be a hint of hesitation in her heart. Ning Fan did not hold her hand tightly. She could withdraw her hand, but she did not. What am I doing? What I cultivate is the yin-yang transformation. The way to help you break the seals is obviously through dual cultivation. As if he was doing it on purpose, Ning Fan's expression became frivolous and he sealed Yuan Yao's lips with his lips. How dare you? Yuan Yao had the arrogance of being above thousands of people. This arrogance could tolerate an accidental absurdity, but it would not tolerate a second blasphemy. That kiss made Yuan Yao's mind restless. She forcefully pulled her wrist away and bit Ning Fan's lips. After breaking free from Ning Fan's blasphemy, Yuan Yao hurriedly retreated and leaned against the stone wall. Her breasts were heaving up and down and her face was flushed red with anger. Do you think you can possess me after doing it with me once? You are shameless. It's impossible for me to dual cultivate with you. I was just joking. To help you break the seals, there is no need for dual cultivation. I just need the help of this Gu King token. I didn't expect you to hate me so much. That bite was really ruthless. Ning Fan's teasing expression disappeared. His teeth were biting on a piece of translucent jade. This item was what Ning Fan inserted into Yuan Yao's body to suppress the rotten immortal poison. This item was very useful to further remove the seals of the realm beast. Thus, Ning Fan took it out with a kiss. However, there were traces of blood on the small token. It was the blood that Yuan Yao bit. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were taking the token. I thought. Yuan Yao's mind was in a mess. At this moment, she was flustered like a child who had done something wrong. You thought I wanted to rape you before your cultivation base recovered? Am I actually this kind of person in your eyes? Ning Fan made a self-deprecating smile. He produced a purplish-golden mist on the Gu King token and handed it to Yuan Yao's palm. This token contains a magic technique of mine which has a miraculous effect on breaking seals. I could have broken the seals of the realm beast in one go. However, I was worried that your injuries would not be able to withstand your previous magic power. That's why I didn't do it. It's not that I can't do it. As long as your injuries are healed, I can help you break the 2 layers of seals within a day and let you become a true immortal of the shedding void realm again. However, you don't have to worry. Even though I'm not a gentleman, I'm not a villain either. I'm neither kind nor evil. However, I have never gone back on my words. Even if it's a void fragmentation realm or a true immortal that's hunting you down, I will never break my promise even if I have to die a horrible death. You don't have to worry. Ning Fan's expression became a little cold. He turned around and returned to his cave residence, leaving Yuan Yao alone. Under the moonlight, under the starlight and in the night breeze, Yuan Yao suddenly felt a little wronged. She did not like Ning Fan looking at her with a cold gaze. I didn't do it on purpose. You were too reckless and didn't even tell me. After saying that, Yuan Yao suddenly became silent. Naturally, Ning Fan did not tell Yuan Yao in advance that he was going to kiss her and suck out the Gu King token. If he did, would Yuan Yao let Ning Fan kiss her? Perhaps, with her arrogant personality, she would rather not break the seal than lose this kiss. At this moment, she could no longer tell what was right and what was wrong. She could not even tell if Ning Fan's kiss was just to take the token or if he had already fallen in love with her. Liu Bei, we can't. This is wrong. After calming herself down, Yuan Yao finally regained her composure and put away all of her frailty. Originally, she would not show any expression of frailty. However, her mental state would inevitably be affected when she fell from the shedding void realm to the nascent soul realm. If her cultivation base recovers, she would no longer show any signs of frailty. Yuan Yao gently placed the Gu King token in her palm into her mouth. Immediately, her face turned red. There was still Ning Fan's saliva mixed with blood on the token. Taking the token and swallowing it was no different from another indirect kiss. If the four heavens were to find out that the dignified palace lord of the Lost World Palace actually did not follow the rules of a woman and had skin contact with an unfamiliar man, she would certainly die. The action of biting Ning Fan was just her instinct to protect herself. Liu Bei. Even though this is an absurd fate, if it's just a trip to the Star Palace, Yuan Yao, will guarantee your safety. I promise. Chapter 317. Ning Fan stood in front of the temporary pill recipe in his cave dwelling for the entire night. He had gained a lot from this trip. Goo worms could improve his spirit sense, demon blood could improve his cultivation base, and Dao fruits were also great nourishment. There were a lot of good things, but Ning Fan did not have much time. Zichuan's appearance was a reminder to him. Since the Purple Robe Palace could enter the Star Palace, the other forces would probably enter soon. There are 3 more days before the star door opens. Within 3 days, I want to awaken my medicine soul and rebuild Weiyang's Sea of Consciousness with the power of the purple Ganoderma. Early in the morning, birds chirped. Shi Ran got up and entered the pill room as usual. When she saw Ning Fan, she was immediately surprised. Brother Liu Bei, aren't you asleep? It's fine. Sleep is not essential to cultivators. Oh, then what happened to your mouth? The little girl's curiosity was aroused. I bit it myself. Oh, the little girl nodded her head, but her eyes were filled with interest. She might be naive, but she was not stupid. This wound was clearly a bite mark, and it was caused by the reverse bite. Could Liu Bei bite himself to cause such a wound? My essence chi has recovered today. It's time to awaken my medicine soul. Today? But I haven't prepared any pain-relieving pills for you. It's going to be very painful. Shi Ran was slightly worried. It's all right. Ning Fan was not concerned. Then all right. I'll set up the medicine formation first. You help me at the side. Here, take this and this. Shi Ran was no longer a silly little girl when it came to matters related to pill refinement. She had the temperament of a pill refinement grandmaster even though she was small. Shi Ran took out spiritual herbs one after another and set up the formation core of the pill recipe. In just 1 hour, she had set up a mysterious formation that was enshrouded in dense medicinal mist. This formation was neither for attack nor defense nor to trap enemies. Its only use was to condense medicine chi and medicine mist. The moment the formation was formed, the pill room was filled with the fragrance of medicine. It was a low-grade divine transformation grand formation, medicine gathering formation. Shi Ran was not proficient in the Tao of formations. This medicine gathering formation was one of the few formations that she had mastered. As a peak 5th revolution pill refinement master, Shi Ran naturally had to master the method to awaken her medicine soul. After all, if she accepts a disciple in the future, she would need to awaken her disciple's medicine soul and guide her to the 5th revolution. Shi Ran's eyes were filled with pride. Big brother Liu Bei. No. Disciple Liu Bei, you can enter the formation now. I will help you awaken your medicine soul. Her every move was methodical, but Shi Ran's words were immature and lacked power. Not only did it not sound like a conversation between a master and his disciple, it sounded more like a lover's flirting. All right, little master Shi Ran. I'll leave the rest to you. Ning Fan could not help but laugh. He took out the soul-refining sand and consumed all of it. Then he entered the center of the medicinal mist formation and sat down cross-legged. Please. Don't worry. You already have a medicine soul. It won't be difficult to awaken it. If you ask me so seriously, I will feel embarrassed. Shi Ran's face turned red, and she put in more effort to control the formation. The medicine soul was actually the unique ability of a fifth revolution pill master. If he could not comprehend the divine intent, he would not be able to concoct a fifth revolution pill. If he could not condense a medicine soul, he would not be able to improve his pill refinement mastery to the fifth revolution. Ancient Chaos's memories had given Ning Fan the inheritance of pill refinement. However, that inheritance stopped at the fifth revolution. If he wanted to go further in alchemy in the future, he would have to rely on himself. Awakening his medicine soul was the first step. After that, if he wanted to improve his pill refinement technique, he would have to continuously accumulate experience and hone his pill refinement technique through a large amount of pill refinement. Only by cultivating both the yin-yang transformation and pill refinement technique at the same time could he achieve the fastest cultivation speed. Neither of them could be neglected. Brother Liu Bei, use the hand seals I gave you to gather your soul power and absorb the medicine qi. Quick. Ning Fan took a deep breath and closed his eyes. His fingers moved rapidly. Traces of green light seemed to be extracted from his soul. Under the illumination, Ning Fan looked like a man made of green light. At the moment when the green light appeared, all the medicine qi in the formation began to entangle with it. After being tempered by the soul-refining sand, it eventually merged with the green light, causing the green color within the green light to become denser. The soul-refining sand was like sandpaper. When it rubbed against his soul, it was naturally extremely painful. However, Ning Fan had already endured this kind of pain countless times. He did not care about it at all. He just stared at the green light with joy in his eyes. That green light was Ning Fan's medicine soul. The so-called medicine soul was the soul light that was condensed from medicine qi. It was the ability to distinguish and sense spiritual herbs. The fifth revolution green, the sixth revolution black, and the seventh revolution purple. Different pill refinement techniques would result in different colors of the soul light. The green color meant that Ning Fan's pill refinement technique was at the fifth revolution. When the green color deepened, the quality of his medicine soul would improve and his pill refinement technique would also improve. When the green light became denser to a certain extent, Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes. Green qi rose from his body like clouds. That green qi was a kind of insight that could directly reach one's soul. It was the unique aura of a pill refinement grandmaster. At this moment, Ning Fan finally understood why Shi Ran's temperament was completely different whenever she talked about spiritual herbs. In fact, that unique temperament was brought about by her medicine soul. Brother Liu Bei, I did it. Shi Ran's face lit up with joy. She was just that pure and innocent. She would be nice to whoever treats her well. I did it. Ning Fan suddenly stood up and opened his mouth to suck in the medicinal mist of the grand formation, nourishing his medicine soul that had just been awakened. So this is a medicine soul? Ning Fan tried to activate his medicine soul. Faint green qi shone around his body and his state of mind immediately became as calm as still water. Not only could the medicine soul improve a pill refinement master's senses, but it could also achieve the effect of calming one's mind after activating it. Just because a pill refinement grandmaster had a medicine soul, they could not be disturbed by external things and concentrate on pill refinement. He patted his storage pouch and took out some spiritual herbs. He realized that after awakening his medicine soul, his ability to identify spiritual herbs had increased by several times. There was a tuft of 5,000 years old thunder yellow essence in his palm. Before awakening his medicine soul, Ning Fan could only judge that this spiritual herb was 5,000 years old. Now, however, he could accurately judge that this spiritual herb was around 5,400 years old. Black flames rose from his fingertips. Along with the awakening of his medicine soul, his control over flames had also improved. The feeling of awakening your medicine soul isn't bad, right? It's all my credit. Shi Ran raised her small face as if she was begging for a reward. It's indeed a great credit. Let me think about how I should reward you. Ning Fan pretended to be deep in thought. I don't want a lot of rewards. Just give me back my 1 billion immortal jade. Before the little girl could finish feeling proud of herself, she suddenly felt a hot breath blowing into her ear. Before she could react, her small, fair face was kissed by Ning Fan. This is the reward. Ning Fan smiled. His figure flashed and disappeared without a trace. As for she ran, she covered her small face as if she was petrified. A moment later, she looked at the direction where Ning Fan had left and gradually regained her senses. Her small, fair face turned red and she clenched her fists as if she wanted to beat someone up. Stinky Liu Bei. You bully me. You took advantage of me. You bullied me. But I don't want to be with you anymore. She stomped her feet in embarrassment. He's too shameless. A kiss is worth 1 billion immortal jade. Does he, Liu Bei, think that he's so handsome? At most, it's worth 50 million immortal jade, humph. I've decided. Stinky Liu Bei still owes me 950 million immortal jade. If Ning Fan knew that a kiss of his was worth 50 million immortal jade in Shi Ran's eyes, he would probably not know whether to laugh or cry. It was the same kiss, but the result was different when it landed on different women. Ning Fan did not consider these thoughts at all. He did not have much time to awaken his medicine soul. He must ask for the star-tempering purple zoysia from the old bear within 3 days to repair the female corpse's sea of consciousness. The improvement of the quality of my medicine soul doesn't necessarily mean that my pill refinement technique will improve. However, every pill refinement grandmaster certainly has a strong medicine soul. There's no doubt about it. Now that I've awakened my medicine soul, my pill refinement technique has improved tremendously. However, there's still a long way to go before I reach the mid-grade 5th revolution pill refinement technique. Ning Fan moved a few times and arrived at the northern part of the island from the south. He stopped at an ancient tree that towered into the sky and walked towards the Rift Valley at the end of the ancient tree. That place was the old bear's lair. Naturally, there were many demon beasts guarding there. However, when they saw that it was Ning Fan, not only did no one stop him, but many demon beasts even stood at the roadside and saluted him. Greetings, Star Lord. King Man has ordered that if you come, you can directly enter King Man's valley without any prior notice. How are Manshan's injuries? Thanks to Lord's 6th revolution pill, His Majesty's injuries have been completely stabilized. He only needs to rest and recuperate. It is only a matter of time before he fully recovers. That's good. Ning Fan nodded his head. Now that Manshan's condition has stabilized, he felt slightly relieved. Along the way into the Barbarian King Valley, the patrolling demonic beasts started to discuss among themselves. Star-Lord didn't come here for the star-tempering purple zoysia, right? It should be. The Barbarian King promised that if the Star-Lord asks for it, he can take half of it. However, the Grand Elder doesn't seem to agree. After all, this star-tempering purple zoysia is the life-saving item of the Grand Elder. If it is given to an outsider, considering the Great Elder's injury, sigh. This matter is really troublesome. The Great Elder is not an ordinary person. Rumor has it that he even dared to contradict the greedy wolf Star-Lord. That's why he was left with such an injury. If it wasn't for the Great Elder's severe injuries, he would have succeeded the position of Star-Lord after the greedy wolf Star-Lord left that year. With the Great Elder's temper, he wouldn't have fought with the Star-Lord, would he? In a pitch-black cave in the Barbarian King Valley, Old Bear rubbed his palms and smiled apologetically at a coffin. My father-in-law, can't we discuss this matter? Just give half of the star-tempering purple zoysia to that Liu Bei. Is that all right? Humph. Barbarian Mountain. Do you think I don't want to give the purple zoysia to that outsider because I don't want to give up my life? My injury is nothing. However, the biggest wish of us star spirits is to break away from our star bodies and form our demon bodies. I don't have any hope of that. A single star-tempering purple zoysia isn't enough for you, Jean Air and Een Air. How can I give it to an outsider? Cough cough. Don't mention this matter again. Old Bear revealed a troubled expression. On one side was Liu Bei while on the other side was his father-in-law. He was in a difficult position. At this critical moment, a message-transmitting flying sword exploded in the secret chamber. Reporting to my king. The Star Lord is already waiting in the main hall. Old Bear smiled bitterly. He could guess that Ning Fan had probably come for the star-tempering purple zoysia. He did not dare to refuse to give it to him, but his father-in-law would not agree to it. Can we discuss this matter again? Get lost. You coward. Forget it. This old man will personally go and see what kind of person this Star Lord Liu who instills fear in the Sea of Stars is. It has been thousands of years since he left this coffin. A ray of starlight flashed out of the coffin and turned into a skinny and small old man. This old man looked as if he would fall to the ground with every step he took. However, the sharpness in his eyes showed that he was a strong and stubborn man. Especially his aura force. Because of his injuries, it fluctuated up and down. At its lowest, it was not even comparable to the vein-opening realm. At its highest, it was comparable to the void refinement realm. Lead the way. The old man stomped his foot and the northern island shook violently. This stomp was more than enough to crush a peak divine transformation realm cultivator to death. Chapter 318. The northern part of the island was shaking. In the main hall, Ning Fan was inwardly shocked. The person who stepped on the island has such great strength. Unless he is a void refinement realm expert, no one else would have such a technique. However, the person who stepped on the island was obviously exhausted. He seemed to be injured. Could it be that there is a severely injured void refinement realm expert hiding on this star island? Ning Fan muttered to himself. Star-Lord, you really have a good eye. To be honest, the person who stepped on the island was probably my father. He is the great elder of Man King Valley and also the former lord of the Star Island, Man Xiong. Just like his name, my father doesn't have a good temper. Moreover, because of the star-tempering purple zoysia, he seems to have some prejudice against you. The reason why he stepped on the island was probably because he heard about your arrival and wanted to challenge you. I hope you won't be offended. The two ugly women immediately explained. Ning Fan nodded his head. It turned out that the injured void refinement realm expert was Man Shan's father-in-law. If he did not know Man Shan, he would not feel guilty even if he destroyed the entire Star Island. However, he still owed Man Shan a huge favor today. Killing his father-in-law was really a beastly act. Humph. So what if I'm offended? I won't be frightened by a child. Just as the ugly women finished their words, a cold harumph resounded. Along with this cold harumph, a ray of starlight flashed and two people appeared. These two people were Man Shan and another skinny little old man. What was funny was that the skinny little old man was carrying Man Shan as he flew all the way here. Even though he was skinny and small, his aura force was experienced and strong. It made all the demon beasts in the main hall feel suffocated. However, when this aura force reached Ning Fan, it strangely split into two and dispersed. An early divine transformation realm cultivator actually managed to withstand my aura force? The old man casually threw Man Shan on the ground. Immediately, the two ugly women helped Man Shan up in distress. This fellow is still severely injured. As for the old man himself, he looked at Ning Fan in surprise. Junior Liu Bei greets Senior Man Xiong. Ning Fan put down his teacup and stood up calmly. He then cupped his fists at Man Xiong. His greeting surprised Man Xiong again. Originally, he did not believe it when he heard that an early divine transformation realm cultivator could turn the entire sea of stars upside down. Now that he saw Ning Fan with his own eyes, he had no choice but to believe it. I can't be wrong. Ning Fan was definitely just an early divine transformation realm expert. However, there was a silent demonic aura coming from his body. That aura force was like a demon with ancestral blood who stood at the peak of the demon world, looking down on the common people like ants. As a member of the demon race, no one could threaten him unless their bloodline surpassed his. Ancestral blood. Man Xiong's eyes narrowed as he thought of this possibility. Experts who possess ancestral blood are not to be trifled with. If Ning Fan possesses ancestral blood and comes to ask for the star-tempering purple Zoisha, Man Xiong would really have to give him some face. What surprised Man Xiong the most was Ning Fan's politeness. Isn't there a rumor in the outside world that Ning Fan kills people like scything flax, is extremely arrogant and has no regard for anyone? Why was he so polite to an old man like him? Afraid of his cultivation? Even if he wasn't, he was only at the early stage of the void refinement stage, which was weaker than the Star Lords. However, Ning Fan still dared to attack 2 Star Lords and force them out of the hollow space. This Ning Fan was not afraid of void refinement realm experts at all. The reason why he was so polite to him was probably because he was Man Shan's elder. When he thought of this, Man Xiong's impression of Ning Fan immediately changed by 180 degrees. He could tell that Ning Fan was only arrogant towards his enemies. He was very easygoing towards his own people. This young man is not as simple as what the outside world says. Man Xiong lived by the principle of, if someone shows me a foot of respect, I will show them 10 feet of respect. Since Ning Fan was polite to him, he also felt embarrassed to keep a straight face. Of course, it was a matter of principle. Man Xiong's cold expression faded a little and he cupped his fists to return Ning Fan's greeting. You're a great figure. However, I can't give you the star-tempering purple Zoisha. You should leave. He went straight to the point. Man Xiong did not like to beat around the bush. His words blocked Ning Fan's way of talking. Father. The 2 ugly women were a little nervous. They had seen with their own eyes that Ning Fan had a magic treasure which could withstand the attack of a mid-void refinement realm expert on the Star Island. If they anger Ning Fan, no one on the Star Island would be able to stop him. Shut up. Man Shan, send our guest away. Man Xiong was also someone who was used to seeing grand occasions. Even if Ning Fan had ancestral blood, he would not be able to suppress him. Ning Fan stood up and looked at Man Shan in silence. He could not forget the heroic words that Man Shan said in order to protect Ning Fan's woman. Therefore, in order to return this favor, Ning Fan would never kill anyone on the northern island no matter how unreasonable the old man was. Brother Liu Bei, you should go back first. I will try to persuade my father-in-law. Man Shan said awkwardly. It's all right. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with disappointment. He cupped his fists at Man Xiong. He was not afraid of killing people. However, for the sake of Old Bear, he had to suppress his killing intent. He did not like to beg others. However, for the sake of Whale Yang, he had no other choice. Even if he was captured by the old devil and might die, he did not ask for anything. He just threw the yin-yang locket at the old devil's head. Ning Fan's fingernails pierced into his palm and he closed his eyes. This was the first time he begged someone. Senior Man Xiong, my wife, Whale Yang, has died and turned into a corpse. Her sea of consciousness was completely shattered. I don't want to revive her. I just want her sea of consciousness to recover a little bit of her intelligence. I need the star-tempering purple Zoisha. I need this item to guide starlight into her body and repair her sea of consciousness. As the price, I am willing to give you 3 sixth revolution pills in exchange for half of the purple Zoisha. 3 sixth revolution pills. Man Xiong's expression changed and his expression changed. 6th revolution pills were precious items to void refinement realm old monsters. In this sea of stars where pill refinement masters were rare, there was not even a single 5th revolution pill refinement master. 6th revolution pills were even more of a legend. Previously, when the old bear said that Ning Fan had a void fragmentation realm background, Man Xiong did not believe it. When the old bear said that Ning Fan would give him 6th revolution pills, Man Xiong did not believe it. However, at this moment, when Ning Fan said that he had 6th revolution pills with sincerity, Man Xiong was already 70% convinced. What surprised Man Xiong the most was that someone like Ning Fan would actually ask for help. Man Xiong could tell that Ning Fan had the ability to cleanse the entire Star Island with blood. Snatching the star-tempering purple Zoisha would be as easy as flipping his palm. However, he did not do so. It meant that he cared about the old bear. Man Xiong could also tell that Ning Fan was the kind of person who would never ask for help. However, It was his first time asking someone for help for the sake of a woman. Ning Fan's actions at this moment poked into Man Xiong's memory. Many years ago, he, Man Xiong, had also begged someone for help for his injured wife. However, in the end, he was not lucky enough to save his wife even though he begged someone for help. Only those who had experienced that kind of regret would understand how heavy it was. 3 sixth revolution pills and 1 condition of mine. I can give you half of the star-tempering purple zoysia. What condition? To be honest, I have my own concerns about not giving you the purple zoysia. I need to consume the purple zoysia to suppress my injuries. If the purple zoysia is not enough, I might die. However, this is not the main point. The main point is that my 2 daughters and a foolish son-in-law need this item to condense their demon bodies and break away from their star spiritual bodies. However, they don't know the correct way to consume the purple zoysia. If you can help them refine the power of the zoysia, I will give you half of the purple zoysia. As long as the 3 of them successfully transform into demons, I will give you the remaining purple zoysia. Break away from their star spiritual bodies. Ning Fan's eyes lit up and he said with a clear voice. To be honest, Senior, I did come here to ask for the zoysia. However, I have some friendship with Man Shan. Of course, I can't ask for it for free. The 3 sixth revolution pills that I gave you in exchange are for the 3 of them. Oh? Is there really such a coincidence? If the 3 pills you brought can really help the 3 of them to truly transform into demons, I will give you the entire purple zoysia. Man Xiong said happily. Father, if you give me all of the zoysia, your injuries? The second ugly woman immediately refuted. My injuries are not worth mentioning. Man Xiong waved his hand. He was already tired of living. The reason why he suppressed his injuries and did not die was just because he was worried about these good-for-nothing juniors. Seniors' injuries are indeed not worth mentioning. If I'm not mistaken, I have a way to completely suppress your injuries. Ning Fan's words shocked everyone present. Even Man Xiong was dumbfounded. If his injuries could be suppressed and the 3 juniors could truly transform into demons, what was the harm in giving the star-tempering purple zoysia to Ning Fan? Would it be a happy ending for everyone today? Chapter 319. For thousands of years, Man Shan and his wife had almost reached the stage of demon transformation with the help of the power of the star-tempering purple zoysia even though they did not consume it correctly. In addition to the miraculous effect of the 6th revolution pill Ning Fan gave them, they began to enter seclusion almost at the moment they consumed the pill to shed their stars and become demons. The effect of the appearance-tempering pill was to refine one's dharma and demon form, which was highly sought after by void refinement realm cultivators. However, to a star spirit, evolving into a demon was no different from cultivating a demon form based on the body of a star spirit. Therefore, the appearance-tempering pill naturally had miraculous effects. Seeing that the 3 juniors really had a chance to become demons, Man Xiong could not help but cup his fists to express his gratitude even though he was cold and unsociable. Thank you for your kindness, little friend. There's no need to thank me. We're just taking what we need. After consuming this pill, Senior's injuries can be suppressed for 1,000 years. However, after that, Senior will definitely die. Ning Fan remained silent. Man Xiong's injuries were too severe. Moreover, it had been delayed for thousands of years. He was already a half-dead man. Ning Fan could not heal his injuries. The only thing he could do was to use another 6th revolution pill, the death-sealing pill, to seal Man Xiong's injuries. This pill was not used to treat injuries but to seal them. It would not only seal his injuries but also the growth of his cultivation base. Once Man Xiong consumes this pill, he could live like an ordinary person for 1,000 years and recover his early void refinement realm cultivation base. After 1,000 years, Man Xiong would die not because of his injuries but because of his lifespan. Void refinement realm cultivators had a lifespan of 10,000 years. Man Xiong was already 9,000 years old. After 1,000 years, his lifespan would come to an end and it would be difficult to change his fate. This pill sealed his injuries and also sealed any possibility of his cultivation-based growth, making it impossible for him to break through to the void fragmentation realm. However, Man Xiong just smiled and did not care about this drawback. Little friend, you must be joking. Even if I don't accept this pill, it's impossible for me to break through to the void fragmentation realm from the early void refinement realm within 1,000 years with my innate potential. After consuming this pill, it's enough for me to be uninjured for 1,000 years and protect my 3 juniors. In the eyes of our demon race, the inheritance of our clan is far more important than our personal life. Man Xiong took the death-sealing pill without hesitation. In just 1 hour, his injuries were sealed and his aura returned to the early void refinement realm. My star island owes you a great debt of gratitude. Apart from the star-tempering purple zoysia, you can ask for anything you need. I heard that little friend wants to go to the heavenly palace. The 3 idiots and I still need some time to go into closed-door cultivation. After we come out, if there's a chance, we will definitely help little friend enter the heavenly palace and search for opportunities. No need, I only want the star-tempering purple zoysia. Looking at the barbarian King Valley, which was decorated with lanterns and colored banners, Ning Fan's eyes dimmed. With his help, there was hope for Man Shan and his wife to become demons, and Man Xiong's injuries would be healed for 1,000 years. Star Island's foothold in the ravenous wolf star ocean could be said to be completely stable. Of course, they were celebrating. However, this joy did not belong to Ning Fan. In the depths of the barbarian King Valley, Ning Fan took away the star-tempering purple zoysia and stood outside the barbarian mountain pass for a long time with a complicated expression on his face. Eventually, he cupped his fists towards Man Xiong and left. I can help others fulfill their wishes, but no one can help me make Wei Liang smile again. Even though he had obtained the entire purple zoysia, Ning Fan's brows were still furrowed. If he were to consume it himself, there was even a chance for his fleshly body to advance to the 3rd level of Jade Life Realm. However, he would not consume it himself. He wanted to feed it to the female corpse so that her sea of consciousness could be reconstructed. Feeding her the medicinal herb would help her regain the memories of her previous life, just like how she fed him the butterfly dew in her previous life. However, Ning Fan was not sure to what extent the star-tempering purple zoysia could help the female corpse recover. Her sea of consciousness was too badly damaged. It was badly damaged. Even if she has the star-tempering purple zoysia, can it really repair her sea of consciousness? If she fails to repair her sea of consciousness in the end, what's the point of everything I've done? Liang, Ning Fan stopped walking. After teleporting a few times, he had already returned to his cave residence on the southern island. It was already noon. All the women had woken up and were chatting about something in the cave residence. What they were talking about was related to Ning Fan's trip to the northern island. As soon as they saw Ning Fan return, all of them rose to their feet. She had already learned from Shi Ran that Ning Fan had gone to the barbarian King Valley on the northern island to seize the star-tempering purple zoysia. It would be too unkind of him not to invite her to participate in such a battle. Wu Yen, on the other hand, was a little worried. She was worried that Ning Fan would fight with Man Shan and the others. Shi Ran's cheeks puffed up. She was still angry about the 950 million immortal jade that Ning Fan owed her. Yuan Yao, on the other hand, avoided Ning Fan's eyes. She still felt guilty and embarrassed. She did not dare to look at Ning Fan's eyes. How is it? Did you get the purple zoysia? Yu Lingkong was the first to ask. I got it. Ning Fan just stared at the female corpse who was standing alone in the corner and felt his heart ache. I'm going to treat her injuries. I'll have to trouble you to protect her. With a light step, he floated to the side of the female corpse. With a flash, both of them disappeared. The 4 women were stunned. At this moment, Ning Fan's eyes were filled with guilt, self-blame, fragility, and wavering. All of them could not hide from their observation. He actually knows how to show such an expression. Even if he had to kill millions or tens of millions of people, Ning Fan would not hesitate nor blame himself. However, when he saw the stiff expression on the female corpse's face, he could not help but feel distressed. The sea breeze blew. Ning Fan held the female corpse in his arms. He did not go into seclusion on the Star Island. Instead, he went against the sea breeze and soared all the way into the vast starry sky that was 4,800,000 zhang in the sky where the stars were the brightest. In the sea breeze, Ning Fan halted his steps and hugged the female corpse very tightly. "Don't be afraid. If I fail to restore your sea of consciousness, I will find other ways to help you recover your memories." Light. The female corpse's face was filled with confusion. She could not understand why Ning Fan would have such a fragile expression. She also could not understand why Ning Fan would bring her to the starry sky that was 4,800,000 zhang. She instinctively wanted to push Ning Fan away. She did not like being hugged by a man. However, Ning Fan at this moment gave her an extremely familiar feeling. In a daze, it was as if the person who was hugging her was not a man but a butterfly. Her shattered sea of consciousness trembled. The female corpse seemed to have seen the heart-wrenching side of her again. In order to save her, that butterfly used its tiny wings to fly towards Zhang Qing. She did not know why. She wanted to cry, but she could not. A corpse devil had no tears, so it would not cry. A corpse devil had no heart, so it would not feel pain. Don't be afraid. Your past life is just like dust. Everything will pass. In this life, I'm here. With me, no one can hurt you anymore, not even immortal emperors. Ning Fan took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He must not be nervous, unwavering, and weak. Previously, he was worried that this purple zoysha would not be able to cure the female corpse. Now, however, he no longer worried. If a purple zoysha can't cure you, I will find 100 of them, 1,000 of them, or even 10,000 of them. If you can't recover your memories within a year, I will wait for you for 100 years, 1,000 years, or even 10,000 years. I will wait for the moment when you remember me. Ning Fan was no longer confused. He let go of the female corpse's embrace. At this moment, his body was filled with an indomitable aura. He patted his storage pouch and took out an earthy yellow Ganoderma. This Ganoderma was exactly the same as the Grand Shen Ganoderma in terms of smell and appearance. If it was Ning Fan in the past, he would also think that it was a Grand Shen Ganoderma. However, after awakening his medicine soul, Ning Fan's ability to distinguish spiritual herbs was very precise. He could already smell that the smell of this Ganoderma was similar to that of the Grand Shen Ganoderma. However, it actually had some camouflage components. Everything in the world that has a spirit would know how to seek fortune and avoid calamity. This star-tempering purple zoysha possessed extraordinary intelligence. Thus, it naturally knew how to disguise itself and deceive the world. How can humans endure such a medicine? Ning Fan muttered to himself indifferently. He activated his medicine soul and green light shone around his body. The green light condensed into a green jade on his palm and he scraped it against the Grand Shen Ganoderma. When the green jade that was condensed by his medicine soul scraped against it, the Ganoderma trembled slightly and turned into a purple Ganoderma that was 1 foot long. There were 3 steps needed to consume the star-tempering purple zoysha. The first step was to turn his medicine soul into jade and break its camouflage. The second step was to use fire to forge the Ganoderma and calcine it 9 times. The third step was to use the medicine slave to break the poison of the Ganoderma so that the purple Ganoderma could unleash its greatest effect. The first step was completed. Without any hesitation, Ning Fan ignited a 3 feet black flame on his fingertip and calcined the Ganoderma. During the 9 calcines, the control of the flame must be very precise. If the temperature is slightly higher, the Ganoderma would turn into ashes. If the temperature was too high, the calcination would be incomplete. With his medicine soul, Ning Fan's hearing and eyes were sharp at this moment. His control of the flame was unprecedentedly precise. In just 1 hour, he had successfully calcined the Ganoderma 9 times. The fragrance of the Ganoderma diffused into the air. Just the fragrance alone was enough to make Ning Fan's magic power surge as if it was about to improve. Next, it's the third step. Ning Fan looked at the female corpse who had a blank expression. His eyes flashed with determination. He breathed out a mouthful of essence chi and sucked the gigantic Ganoderma into his stomach. Refine. As he uttered the word, the Ganoderma was refined in his body, turning into drops of purple Ganoderma blood which condensed into purple medicinal crystals. Ning Fan was very careful. He was afraid that he would waste the medicinal power of the Ganoderma if he absorbed any of the medicinal crystals, causing the female corpse to lose the possibility of regaining her memories. As the medicinal crystals were refined, traces of poison which were as black as ink were forced into the crystals and absorbed into Ning Fan's body. A natural medicine is bound to produce a poison. The stronger the medicinal power of the Ganoderma, the heavier its poison would be. As soon as the poison entered his body, Ning Fan's lips immediately turned purplish-black. His face also began to emit black qi. Ning Fan let the poison wreak havoc in his body and his internal organs hurt. He clenched his teeth without saying a word and forced the purple medicinal crystals out of his body and fed them into the female corpse's mouth. I don't care about pain. I don't care about cultivation either. I just want you to smile again. The 13th medicinal crystal. Ning Fan fed the last medicinal crystal into the female corpse's mouth. Immediately, he felt as if his chest had suffered a heavy blow. He retreated 100 steps and spurted out a mouthful of black blood. Medicinal poison was not something that mortals could resist. Even ordinary medicine slaves could not force out the medicinal poison of the star-tempering purple Ganoderma, let alone endure it. However, Ning Fan did not care. Injured? I don't understand. The female corpse obediently swallowed the medicinal crystal and stared at Ning Fan with empty eyes. She did not understand why Ning Fan would cough out blood. You don't need to understand. Ning Fan smiled in relief. He had already seen the power of the purple Ganoderma being refined in her body after she consumed the medicinal crystal. In the 4,800,000 zhang tall sky of the Star Palace, endless starlight was gathering inside the female corpse's body. Traces of starlight lingered around her body. The internal injuries of the female corpse were healing under the starlight. Her shattered sea of consciousness began to show signs of recovering. In this way, everything I've done is not in vain. However, the scene that unfolded next greatly exceeded Ning Fan's expectations. After he consumed the star-tempering purple Ganoderma and fed the medicinal crystal to the female corpse, the silver starlight surrounded the female corpse and her injuries were healing. As for Ning Fan himself, starlight also rose around his body. It was as light as a veil. However, the starlight was black in color. Black starlight? What is this? Ning Fan's eyes were filled with shock. After being enveloped by the starlight for a moment, he closed his eyes tightly as if he had entered a dream. Black star. It's actually Black Star. Silly brother, you actually had such a great opportunity. It's really amazing. Luo Yu's excited voice came from the yin-yang locket. Unfortunately, Ning Fan could not hear her excited voice because he was in a dream. Outside the cave, Yuan Yao raised her head and looked at the sky. She looked at the flowing starlight in the sky. She guessed that Ning Fan had already successfully fed the purple Ganoderma to the female corpse and guided the starlight to treat her injuries. A single leaf can condense a star of fiend gods and devils. A single mouthful of the Ganoderma's meat can guide the star power to temper her body and improve her body refinement realm. You're actually willing to let her consume such a precious purple Ganoderma. You're really good to her even if she might not understand how much you've sacrificed for her. Yuan Yao sighed with emotion. A moment later, her face was filled with astonishment. It was because black nebulae appeared in the sky, reflecting the starlight that was as dark as the night sky. Black starlight? Demon immortals can use starlight to heal their injuries. However, there are different grades of starlight. Ordinary demon immortals who can comprehend silver starlight can heal their injuries and detoxify them. Silver starlight is just the lowest grade of starlight. Black starlight is the supreme color among the 9 grades of starlight. Yuan Yao's face was filled with astonishment. Only those whose cultivation realm had reached a certain level could understand the difference between black starlight and ordinary starlight. Both of them could use starlight to heal their injuries, but the effect was as different as the clouds and mud. The starlight body tempering technique was an immortal-grade healing technique. The number of healing stars and the grade of the starlight would directly affect the effectiveness of this technique. Rumor has it that the Heaven Emperor's starlight technique has reached the realm of 1 million stars. When he opens his palm, 1 million black stars will appear and the starlight will never be extinguished. Even if he is besieged by the immortal emperors of the heavens, suffering millions of injuries and bleeding like a river, he can still recover in an instant. If you can comprehend this technique and attain the immortal emperor realm, you might even become the next Heaven Emperor. What am I saying? Yuan Yao shook her head in a self-mocking manner. Ning Fan had just guided the black starlight, but she was so excited that she lost her composure. Guiding the starlight to heal her injuries did not mean that she could comprehend the starlight technique. Comprehending the starlight technique did not mean that she could cultivate 1 million stars or become an immortal emperor. Ning Fan's luck was not bad as he had guided the black stars to him. However, there was still a huge gap between him and her. Difficult. It was unknown whether the word difficult, she said, was referring to the difficulty of comprehending the starlight technique or the fact that she was with Ning Fan. Within the black starlight, Ning Fan stood still for 3 days. During these 3 days, he felt like he had a dream. He was immersed in the dream and could not break free. In the dream, he was wearing white robes and was playing chess with a middle-aged man who was wearing black dragon robes. He took the white pieces while the other party took the black pieces. "Little butterfly, it's your turn." The man in black dragon robes stroked his beard. His left eye had been gouged out and black blood flowed all over the ground. However, his expression was calm. If there is white, there will be black. If there is life, there will be death. If there is sunlight, there will be shadows. If there is a gentleman, there will be a villain. In my opinion, the star technique is a game of chess. The black and silver stars, the strongest and the weakest, are all in this game. Don't you think it's interesting? I didn't expect that the trace of remnant will of the starlight that I left after dying for 150 million years would meet with your next life. Just now, you treated Wei Yang very well. I saw it all. Who are you? Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the man in dragon robes. It doesn't matter who I am. This is just a broken dream. You just need to break this game of chess. You still have half a day to think about how to make your next move. Chapter 320. The Tao of Chess was the ability of mental calculation and deduction. Ning Fan's wisdom was not weak and he even had the ancient chaos inheritance. However, he could not gain the upper hand in front of the black-robed man. The dream lasted for 3 days. Every day, the man would play 7 games with him. No more and no less. No matter what Ning Fan asked, the man would not answer. On the first day, Ning Fan and the man were tied in the first 6 games. Each of them won 3 games but lost in the 7th game. On the second day, Ning Fan was determined to win and won 3 games in a row. However, he was defeated by the man in the last 4 games. Ning Fan frowned. This was the 3rd day. He did not know why he fell into this dream, but he could feel that the black-robed man had no evil intentions towards him. Who is this man? Why did I enter the dream and play with him for 3 days after being enveloped by the black starlight? What is this black starlight? This man said that the Tao of chess is the Tao of astrology. What does this mean? Ning Fan's brows relaxed. He put down the chess piece and stood up to leave. I am not playing anymore. Interesting. He actually gave up on winning. However, this is not enough to see through the mystery of this game. Little butterfly, are you trying to escape? I did not see you running away when you faced Zhang Qing. Who the hell are you? I am the one who taught you the Tao of astrology. Tao of astrology? Ning Fan was startled. He naturally knew that the Tao of astrology was an extremely profound healing technique. However, why should I learn it? My Tao of astrology is the black star technique. It has the effect of regrowing bones and resurrecting the dead. Are you really not going to learn this technique? The middle-aged man stroked his beard and said indifferently, If you want to learn it, Then sit down. If you don't want to learn it, then you can leave. However, I'm afraid that your Whale Young will never be able to come back to life. Ning Fan looked at the middle-aged man deeply. This man appeared on purpose. This dream was strange, and this man seemed to know him like the back of his hand. Is he an inner demon or an illusion? Is he a fictional character in the dream or a remnant that really exists? He tried to break the dream to leave, but he still could not. It seems that if I do not satisfy this middle-aged man, I will not be able to leave this dream. I want to see how you are going to teach me the star art. Ning Fan sat on the stone stool again, but this time, he pushed the chessboard and held a black piece. You are worth teaching, the black-robed middle-aged man nodded, but he was not in a hurry to make his move. Chess is astrology, and the chessboard is life. It's hard to distinguish between black and white, and it's hard to distinguish between reality and illusion. However, there's one thing you shouldn't be obsessed with: black and white. Black and white are meaningless. With a flick of his sleeve, the chessboard was filled with specks of starlight, as bright as the Milky Way. This chessboard and chess pieces were formed from starlight. The silver starlight was the white chess pieces, and the black starlight was the black chess pieces. But with a thought from the middle-aged man, the black and white starlight were reversed. On the first day, you didn't put victory or defeat in your eyes. I gave it my all, but it ended in defeat. On the second day, you wholeheartedly sought victory. You won 3 rounds in a row, but your state of mind was disturbed. You lost 4 rounds and ended up losing as well. However, you should know that life is like a game of chess. The key to victory is not who wins the most. Instead, it's who wins the final round. Even if he won 6 games in a row, once he was defeated in the final battle, the throne would still be in his hands. This was the chess of life. As for the chess of astrology, you can take that black chess piece and study it carefully. Broaden your horizons. There are more stars in the sky than just those that shine brightly. The star door has been opened. It's time for me to leave. I haven't played a game today, and I can't bear the itch. It's a pity. Boom! Remnant dream collapsed. On the 3rd day, there wasn't a single game and it ended. Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes. The starlight that surrounded his body had turned into a black starlight chess piece and fell on his palm. He patted his storage pouch and took out the jade box that contained the key to the Star Palace. The key was nowhere to be found. The key has disappeared, and the black starlight condensed into a chess piece. This black chess piece is the key to obtaining the Star of the Heavenly Emperor. The Star of the Heavenly Emperor is the ability to control the black starlight. Starlight technique. Ning Fan exerted his palm force, and the black chess piece immediately disappeared into his palm. He then looked at the female corpse that was surrounded by starlight. In the past 3 days, the decay on her body had completely disappeared. She looked like a living person. However, there was still no sign of life. All of this was because she didn't have a soul. Under the starlight, the palace dress of the female corpse fluttered in the wind. Her tightly shut eyes seemed to be hiding a pool of autumn water. Her pale face also had a hint of redness. She stood in the wind. Her body seemed to be dancing in the wind. She had yet to open her eyes, but she already had a kind of pitiful aura. Her mid-divine transformation realm aura force was raised to the late divine transformation realm. The star-tempering purple Zoisha was only enough to raise her cultivation level to the late divine transformation realm. However, as her sea of consciousness recovered, her aura force still showed signs of increasing. Her sea of consciousness is recovering. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He knew that the female corpse had probably reached the last and most crucial stage, the recovery of her sea of consciousness. If her sea of consciousness could be restored, she would be able to recover her past memories even if she was a corpse devil. At this moment, the female corpse must not be disturbed. Bang! Below him, at the center of the star island, the tightly shut gap of the star door began to tremble and open. A huge storm swept across the sky. However, when it reached the front of the female corpse, it was blocked by Ning Fan's sleeve. No one is allowed to disturb the recovery of Whale Yang's sea of consciousness. Roar. Far away, two groups of falcon star beasts were fighting over the corpse of a gigantic sea beast. As the battle got closer, countless falcon star beasts unconsciously flew towards the female corpse. Those who come within 30,000 li of my territory shall die. Ning Fan did not kill them. He just uttered a sentence indifferently, but his killing intent was terrifying. Under such a cold threat, the group of innocent star beasts immediately showed a terrified expression and left in a hurry. The female corpse's sea of consciousness was still recovering. However, after the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, there were 7 to 8 broken holes in the void above the star island as usual. Previously, 7 of the 8 holes had healed while the last one had yet to fully heal. That was why they entered the Purple Robe Palace. This time, out of the 8 holes, 5 of them had healed while the other 3 had yet to fully heal. 3 forces had entered the Star Palace. My Snow Sword sect has finally entered this place. Other than the Purple Robe Palace, we should be the second to enter the palace, right? Second? That might not be the case. My Shadow Valley's speed is not any slower than your Snow Sword sect. Humph. What's the point of arguing about this? The one who will obtain the Star of the Heavenly Emperor will certainly be my Imperial Wind School. Hundreds of nascent soul realm cultivators and 19 divine transformation realm cultivators from the 3 great forces had entered this place. These 3 sects were not as powerful as the Purple Robe Palace, but they were not weak either. Before the experts of the 3 sects had the time to show off, they saw a man and a woman standing strangely in the sky. The woman's appearance was peerless. Starlight covered her body. She was actually using the starlight to heal her injuries. The man's eyes were gloomy. As soon as he saw the experts of the 3 sects had arrived, he immediately patted his storage pouch and held a blood sword that was filled with blood chi. He looked like a devil god. Without any hesitation, he used his palm to extract the soul and infused his magic power into the sword light. Get lost. The sword light covered the sky. Under the sword light, all the nascent soul realm cultivators of the 3 sects died tragically. The 19 divine transformation realm cultivators were shocked when they saw the blood-red sword light soaring into the sky before they could stand still. They then rushed out of the Star Palace without any hesitation. Even though the 11 early nascent soul realm cultivators ran away quickly, their physical bodies were destroyed and only their primordial spirits were left. Even though the 6 mid-nascent soul realm cultivators were prepared, they were still severely injured by the sword light and coughed out blood non-stop. The 3 late nascent soul realm cultivators had an astounding cultivation base. However, they were all severely injured by the sword light. Their faces were filled with fear after they managed to escape from the Star Palace. Half-step void treasure blood sword. This man is only an early spirit severing realm cultivator, but he possesses the magic power of a late spirit severing realm cultivator just by extracting the soul. Even a peak spirit severing realm cultivator would be injured if he wields a half-step void treasure with his late spirit severing realm magical power. We are really lucky to be able to escape with our lives. This man is guarding the Star Gate. Could he be the one who killed the experts of the Purple Robe Palace, Liu Bei? The experts of the 3 sects were terrified. The danger of the Star Palace was far beyond their imagination. The Star of Heaven Emperor was not something they could compete for. Damn it. Let's retreat. The void closed and the path disappeared. The experts of the 3 sects were extremely afraid of Ning Fan. Extreme joy begets sorrow. It came too quickly. Ning Fan kept the blood sword. His aura was imposing. With his current strength, it was no longer as difficult for him to use the blood sword. As long as he was here, he would not allow anyone to disturb the female corpse's recovery of her sea of consciousness. Time passed bit by bit. Ning Fan stood guard at the side. His cold eyes would only become gentler when he saw the female corpse. Waiting. Ning Fan was waiting for the female corpse to wake up. The female corpse had also waited for 150 million years for Ning Fan to transform into a butterfly and become a human. I have no regrets. I have no regrets for stealing the immortal medicine and abandoning the engagement for you. I have no regrets for sleeping in the green coffin and keeping my face bare for you. I have no regrets for turning into a corpse devil and taking pity on you in my next life. It was as if thousands of doors had been opened. In the end, it turned into a ray of dazzling sunlight and shone into the female corpse's eyes. It's a little dazzling. I should be sleeping in the darkness. The female corpse's tone was indifferent, as if nothing in the world could make her happy. Her eyes were looking at the stars in the sky with disdain. Her eyes were as cold as autumn water. However, when her eyes fell on a man in front of her, she could no longer remain calm. Without a doubt, the man in front of her had changed his appearance and changed his appearance. Without a doubt, the man in front of her had reincarnated and his thoughts were shattered. However, she could still recognize the man in front of her with just a glance. His clear black and white eyes carried a trace of stubbornness and sadness. Xiao Fan. That kind of feeling was indescribable. After sleeping for 150 million years, she had awakened her memories and saw the only person she wanted to see. There were tears in her eyes, but she was reluctant to let them fall. There was a smile at the corner of her mouth, but she was sobbing. Xiao Fan is the name of my butterfly. He is my butterfly. It's me. It's been many years since we last met. How are you? Ning Fan's face was still stained with blood from killing someone, but he tried his best to smile calmly. That's right. It's been many years since we last met. Xiao Fan, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. But I'm so sleepy, the female corpse frowned. Her sea of consciousness was in extreme pain and she fell into Ning Fan's arms. The star-tempering purple zoysia had restored part of her sea of consciousness. However, she did not know how long it would take for her to fully recover her memories. She needed to rest. She needed a long period of time to recover her memories. I want to sleep. Don't leave me before I wake up. The female corpse's eyes that had just regained a trace of clarity began to become empty. It was a form of self-protection. Before she regained her memories, she still needed to seal her broken memories to give her sea of consciousness a chance to recover. As her eyes became empty, the female corpse returned to her usual blank look. Light. Only a female corpse with low spiritual intelligence would address Ning Fan as such. She was asking why Ning Fan was hugging her. She was asking what happened just now and why there were bloodstains on Ning Fan's body. Ning Fan's expression was complicated. He was afraid that he would have to listen to this form of address for a very long time. Silly girl. Don't worry. I will definitely cure you completely. I will. The female corpse tilted her head in confusion. However, she did not resist Ning Fan's embrace as much as before. Moreover, there was a hint of expectation and dependence. Light? And sleep? The female corpse gave an ambiguous invitation. Silly girl. Corpse devils don't need to sleep. Ning Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. It seems like even if the female corpse could not recover her memories for the time being, her spiritual intelligence had improved by quite a lot after consuming the purple zoysia. Not simple. She even knows how to seduce me. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm in a hurry to enter the Heaven Palace, I would probably be willing to sleep with her. The last time was when I was in Ning City. It was because I had no choice but to live. Thank you for protecting me so many times. Jihe, Whaleyong, huh? The female corpse blinked her eyes, indicating that she did not understand. Chapter 321. Half a day later, Ning Fan sent a message transmitting flying sword to Gui Xiong Pass, Dragon Burial City, Southern Prison Country, and Li Kuan Palace. After leaving a jade slip for Old Bear, he stepped into the Star Gate. The jade slip contained his experience in using the void power. Moreover, Ning Fan had left a trace of the void power that he had comprehended in the jade slip. With this item, it should be able to help Old Bear attain the void refinement realm. I have only met Man Shan a few times. If we are fated to meet again, perhaps we can sit down and have a drink. Let's call each other brothers. Brothers? These two words were Ning Fan's apologetic words. I wonder how Ning Gu and Enran are doing. 30 years have passed. Perhaps they are already married. Perhaps they even have children. Ning Fan had left many longevity pills for them. If they consume them, it would not be difficult for them to live up to 200 years old even if they don't cultivate. Perhaps, it would be better to let Ninggu and Enran be an immortal couple in the mortal world. Inside the Star Gate, the path to the Heaven Palace was a silver river that flowed against the current. The silver river flowed extremely fast. Ning Fan simply took out the 7-apricot voyage ship that he had not used for a long time and rowed it towards the Heaven Palace. The star of the Heavenly Emperor. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with contemplation. His original intention of obtaining the Emperor Star was to break through to the mid-divine transformation realm. Now, as long as he completely refined the terrifying amount of demon blood in his body, he would be able to break through to the mid-divine transformation realm. If he obtains the Emperor Star, his cultivation base would improve tremendously. However, it was no longer Ning Fan's final goal. He held a black chess piece in his hand. It was formed by a trace of black starlight. It was the star technique of the Heavenly Emperor. Without a doubt, that black-robed middle-aged man was the Heavenly Emperor. Ning Fan pondered for a long time and finally came to a conclusion. The person who was playing chess with him in the dream was probably the remnant will of the Heavenly Emperor, the former master of the Star Palace. From Luo Yu and Yuan Yao, Ning Fan learned how powerful the Black Star technique of the Heavenly Emperor was. With the help of millions of starlight, he could survive the siege of a few immortal emperors. If he can master that technique, it would not be difficult for him to heal Ninggu's injuries and extend his lifespan. It would also not be difficult for him to reconstruct Mu Weiliang and Ning Honghong's souls in the demon sinister forest. Moreover, it might even be possible for the female corpses C to recover faster. Moreover, it would not be difficult for him to obtain the star of the celestial star. However, before obtaining the Emperor Star, he needed to understand the profoundness of this black star chess piece. Of course, he couldn't be careless. In the Sky Palace, there was also Imperial Concubine Z and that unknown realm beast. There was also the voracious Wolf Star Lord. Liu Bei, are you really going to take action against Concubine Z? Wu Yen asked Ning Fan, who was standing opposite her on the bow of the ship. If I show mercy to her, you will definitely be imprisoned by her words. I will capture her and use her as a cauldron. As for whether to kill her or not, it is up to you. It's better not to kill him. Wu Yen hesitated. It was not because she was worried about Concubine Z. Instead, she was worried that Ning Fan's crime would be too severe if he killed someone. Although they would both offend the Spirit King Palace, if they were exposed, the crime of capturing the demon concubine would definitely be lighter than murder. Perhaps, as long as he doesn't kill Concubine Z, even if this matter is exposed, Wu Yen could still protect Ning Fan in the name of the clan. Big sister Wu Yen said she wouldn't kill him, so big brother Liu Bei definitely won't. However, big brother Liu Bei, you must not be careless. That Concubine Z's name is Nailin Z. No matter what, she is a member of the Spirit King clan and possesses the bloodline of the true Spirit Purple Cuckoo. She might be a little domineering, but her strength isn't weak. Furthermore, she is deeply favored by the Spirit King. This time, she is representing the Spirit King Palace. Perhaps she is carrying a secret treasure bestowed by the Spirit King. In short, don't underestimate the enemy. She seemed to have forgotten that just 2 months ago, she was still the loyal demon concubine of the Spirit King Palace. Unfortunately, she, the demon concubine, had already been accepted into Ning Fan's harem. Unknowingly, she had become the opposite of Concubine Z. Don't worry, I won't underestimate anyone. Speaking of which, the Spirit King Palace must have an important mission in the Star Palace, right? Just for the star of the Celestial Emperor? I feel that your actions of collecting medicinal ashes are more suspicious. Ning Fan's gaze fell upon Shi Ran and Wu Yan's faces. Both of them immediately revealed a troubled expression. You can't tell me? Ning Fan teased. However, the gazes of the two ladies landed on Yu Lingkong and Yuan Yao. Yuan Yao, in particular, looked at them for a longer time. Their meaning was obvious. The two of them were outsiders, especially Yuan Yao. She seemed to be an expert of the god race. The demon race and the god race were old enemies in the realm war. It was already not easy for them to sit together and have a chat. The secret of the demon race would never be told to the people of the god race. You guys can talk to each other through telepathy. I won't listen to it. Yuan Yao's eyes were also filled with a strange expression. She had never thought that she, the dignified palace lord of the Lost World Palace, would lower her status and address a group of juniors as sisters. Moreover, most of her younger sisters were members of the foreign races. Yuan Yao's cultivation base had already recovered to the early divine transformation realm. Along with that, her temperament of a superior being had also recovered. Considering the possibility of encountering old monster Northern Heavens in the Heaven Palace, she even covered her face with a veil. Shi Ran and Wu Yen hesitated. In the end, they did not send any telepathy to avoid awkwardness. In fact, our mission this time isn't to obtain the star of the Celestial Emperor. Instead, it's to obtain the sovereign medicine of this star palace. Sovereign medicine. The demon commander of this place is Lu Wu. He used to be in charge of guarding the Celestial Emperor's medicinal garden. However, he has been in hibernation for such a long time. Even if his demon body didn't decay, the sovereign medicine would have turned into ashes. I'm afraid that you guys will fail this time. I'm afraid that you won't be able to find the sovereign medicine. At most, you'll find some ashes. However, the dignified palace lord of the Spirit King Palace actually needs the sovereign medicine. Could it be that she's injured? Yu Lingkong, who had obtained the inheritance of immortal concubine Zhang Yu, obviously knew a lot about the ancient heavenly court. With her intelligence, she could immediately deduce that the Spirit King was injured. I'm afraid their mission is to collect the ashes of the sovereign medicine. I didn't expect the Spirit King to be injured to such an extent. Yuan Yao frowned. That's right. Our mission is to collect the ashes of the sovereign medicine. Sigh, Sister Bei Yao is so amazing. None of us demon concubines of the Spirit King Palace understand why the Spirit King asked us to collect the ashes of the sovereign medicine in secret. Indeed, Yuan Yao's cultivation base was the highest among all the women present. It was so high that one's hair stood on end. She understood that the Spirit King was collecting the ashes of the sovereign medicine for the sake of spirit. She also understood that the Spirit King must have no other choice but to send people to the lower world to search for the ashes of the sovereign medicine. If the Spirit King could not obtain the ashes of the sovereign medicine, the Spirit King might even die from his injuries. Once the Spirit King dies, if there is no next Spirit King to replace him, the great tree of the Spirit King Palace would fall. At the very least, Shi Ran, Wu Yen, Lu Wan, and the others would be implicated. This was a very serious matter. Liu Bei, I have a suggestion. After you enter the Heaven Palace this time, help Wu Yen and Shi Ran. Search for some of the ashes of the sovereign medicine and help them complete their mission. Shi Ran was surprised. Yuan Yao of the God race would help the Spirit King of the Demon race? With your identity, it doesn't seem appropriate for you to say such words. Ning Fan stared at Yuan Yao deeply. He did not know the exact identity of this woman, but she was most likely a big shot of the Northern Heaven Divine race. As the sworn enemy of the demon race, she certainly would not speak up for the Spirit King. Could it be that this seemingly cold woman is worried about Shi Ran and Wu Yen? If you don't want to listen to me, then forget it. Just pretend that I didn't say anything. You don't have to make fun of me on purpose. Yuan Yao gently bit her lips and turned around to walk into the cabin of the ship. Indeed, if the ashes of the sovereign medicine are really important and the Spirit King is severely injured, Little Cucumber, if you help the Spirit King, it's the same as helping your younger sister Shi Ran, younger sister Wu Yen, and younger sister Wan. You should at least listen to them. Yu Lingkong reminded him. I didn't say that I won't listen to them. Ning Fan found it interesting. Why does it feel like a palace fight is going to happen when just a few women are gathered together? In the past, most of the women he took in were human cauldrons. Since he planted a mental seal on them, they were naturally obedient. But now, each of the women on the ship was either a proud princess or a strong woman. None of them were obedient. As for the benefits, with these women around, Ning Fan did not even need to use his brain, and there would be people who would give him solutions. As for the disadvantages, once there are more of these women, a fight might break out. Ning Fan could only smile and dismiss such thoughts. After the trip to the Star Palace, the women on the ship would probably return to their respective homes and go their separate ways. While the women were arguing, Ning Fan almost did not interrupt them. This time, he felt like he was not involved in the matter. If Yu Lingkong and Yuan Yao weren't here, he would probably also suggest helping Wu Yen to complete the task and collect the ashes of the sovereign medicine. However, with Yu Lingkong and Yuan Yao around, Ning Fan still managed to solve the problem without saying a word, giving him a different kind of enlightenment. That enlightenment was the reflection of the Heaven Sovereign's words. At this moment, Ning Fan seemed to have found something. He took out the black chess piece and stared at it attentively. By staying out of the matter, the scenery I see will be different. I don't know how to cultivate the star technique, nor do I know how to cultivate the black star technique. However, if I look at this starry sky from another angle, can I see those black stars that are hidden in the darkness? As soon as this thought appeared in his mind, the black chess piece in his palm trembled slightly. Ning Fan knew that he had found the key to cultivating the star technique. The black stars were hidden in the darkness instead of shining brightly in the night sky. In order to comprehend the black star technique, he must fish out the black stars from the darkness. Once he obtains the star of the Heaven Sovereign, he would probably be able to comprehend the black star body refinement technique of the Heaven Sovereign with the help of this small chess piece. At the end of the Milky Way was another star door. After passing through the star door, they would arrive at the Heaven Palace. Although they were only tens of thousands of li away, they could still vaguely hear the sounds of magic techniques colliding with each other. Moreover, there were even 3 figures that fled from the Heaven Palace in a panic. As soon as they saw the 7 apricot voyage ship, they immediately rushed towards it. Behind them was a silver illusory wolf with late divine transformation realm cultivation base. The 3 of them scanned the voyage ship with their spirit sense from afar. As soon as they recognized Ning Fan, they were immediately overjoyed. "General Bei, save us. We are members of the 2nd Division, the Lightning Clan." Their cries for help could be heard from 20,000 li away. As soon as their voices fell, one of them immediately let out a miserable cry. It was the silver wolf that was flying at an extremely fast speed. It caught up to one of them and swallowed one of them alive. The 2 lucky ones did not have the time to grieve for their comrades. Their faces were filled with madness and they fled even more desperately. However, their eyes were already filled with despair. The cry for help just now was just them trying to find a doctor in a desperate situation. As divine transformation realm experts of the Lightning Clan, they knew that Ning Fan was at the early divine transformation realm. They also knew that he had killed a late divine transformation realm expert like Wang Xiao. However, now that they thought about it carefully, they did not think that Ning Fan had the strength to kill the silver wolf. Perhaps he could rely on his refined corpse. However, the silver wolf's speed was extremely fast. "It's over. The 2 of us might die." The 2 of them looked at the silver wolf that was smiling ferociously behind them with despair. However, at the next moment, their eyes were filled with astonishment. In front of the silver wolf, a white-robed figure appeared. With just a single step, he crossed the distance of 20,000 li. Then he threw out a punch. The strength of this punch was even slightly stronger than that of an ordinary 3rd-level Jade Life Realm expert. Boom! Under this attack, the silver wolf spurted out a mouthful of silver blood and was sent flying 10,000 zhang away with a solemn expression. "Junior, you're not weak. However, I will only give you 3 breaths. If you don't get lost within 3 breaths, you will definitely regret offending me in the future." "Greedy wolf?" Ning Fan's expression softened. It doesn't seem worth it to offend the greedy wolf Star Lord for the sake of 2 unfamiliar members of the Lightning Clan. However, his hesitation had boosted the aura of the silver wolf. Its eyes flashed with ferocious light and it directly breathed out a silver poisonous mist. "So what if you're greedy wolf?" Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He was just wary of greedy wolf, but he was not afraid of it. He patted his storage pouch and used his palm to extract the soul. Then, he held the blood sword in his hand and swung it down. After an ear-piercing sword chime, countless sword chi flooded the hollow space. The silver river was cut off by the sword. That ray of blood sword light made the silver wolf's eyes widen in shock. The two divine transformation realm experts of the Lightning Clan were in disbelief. Half-step void treasure. It's this sword again. Ah! The silver wolf let out a miserable shriek. Under the blood sword light, its illusory figure collapsed. It was killed by a single sword attack. However, before it died, it glared at Ning Fan ferociously and remembered his appearance. Behind Ning Fan, the two divine transformation realm experts of the Lightning Clan who were severely injured were completely dumbfounded. Liu Bei of the Luo Yun clan killed a late divine transformation realm expert with a single sword attack. This sword attack was more than a few times stronger than the one used in the Cloud Platform Grand Competition. This sword attack did not have the side effects of the Grand Competition. The current Ning Fan gave them a feeling that if they were to face Wang Shao again, he would only need a single sword attack to kill him. In just a few years, he has actually become so strong. Moreover, why is there such a dense baleful chi on his body? How many divine transformation realm experts did he kill? Chapter 322. Ning Fan kept his blood sword. He was not happy about killing Greed. Instead, he was worried because what he killed was not his true body but just a split soul. Thousands of years ago, Greed's Star Lord sneaked into the Heaven Palace. Today, just a split soul of his already had a late divine transformation realm cultivation base. Ning Fan did not know what kind of fortuitous encounter this Greed Star Lord had. Now, he was probably at least a mid-void refinement realm expert. However, even if he had a second chance, Ning Fan would still kill Greed Star Lord again since the split soul of Greed Star Lord wanted to kill him. That was his personality. With a flick of his sleeve, he carried the two heavily injured lightning generals back to the 7 Apricot Voyage ship. As soon as they were out of danger, they immediately bowed to Ning Fan. Lei Mu and Lei Tu, the demon generals of the second troop, thank you for saving our lives, General Bei. If you need me, I will not hesitate to die 10,000 times. Ning Fan glanced at the two of them and tossed them 2 jade slips. You don't have to thank me. However, I want to know all the information about the Heaven Palace and the reason why the two of you are being chased by the Star Beasts. The two of you will each imprint a copy of the information and the jade slips. If the 2 jade slips are different, don't blame me for being merciless and searching your souls and memories. We don't dare. As the demon generals of the Second Lightning Tribe, both of them had divine transformation realm cultivation bases and they were arrogant. However, in front of Ning Fan, they did not even dare to raise their heads or breathe loudly. Liu Bei of the Luo Yun tribe. He was a ruthless man who had shaken the 9 tribes. Today, the baleful chi on this ruthless man was more than 10 times denser than before. They did not dare to disobey Ning Fan's order. Ning Fan would not save them for nothing. The reason why he saved them was just to get some information about the Heaven Palace from them. If it wasn't because they were both from the 9 tribes of the Liu clan, he would have probably searched their souls and memories. Currently, the two of them were already frightened. They naturally did not dare to hide the information about the Heaven Palace from Ning Fan. It also saved them the trouble of searching their souls. After handing the jade slips to Ning Fan, they hesitated for a while before gritting their teeth and cupping their fists at him. The Heaven Palace today is too terrifying. It's not a place where late divine transformation realm cultivators and those below can enter. We are already severely injured and we don't dare to enter the Heaven Palace again. We beg General Bei to allow us to leave the third world and return to the second world first. Sure. Ning Fan's eyes remained unmoved. What does it have to do with him whether these two people leave or not? The 2 lightning generals sighed emotionally. Originally, the 2 of them wanted to enter the third realm and awaken the demon commander so that they could contribute. However, he did not expect that the third realm would undergo such a huge change and be filled with danger. The two generals each escaped with a jade array disc. This array disc was an item that every demon general of the 9 divisions had obtained to leave the third realm. Activating the formation plate, the two of them turned into 2 rays of formation light and gradually disappeared without a trace. They should have returned to the second world. As for Ning Fan, he pressed the 2 jade slips on his glabella. After searching through them, he found out that the information in the 2 jade slips was basically the same. It was obvious that the two of them did not lie. However, the content of the information made Ning Fan's expression turn solemn. Such an unforeseen event has actually occurred in the Sky Hall. What's going on? There's something wrong with that astral beast from earlier. Yuan Yao, Yu Lingkong, and Wu Yan all noticed that there was something wrong with the ravenous wolf. Take a look at the jade slip yourselves. The ladies received the jade slip from Ning Fan's hand. After they took a look at it, their expressions changed. Lu Wu is dead. A new demon commander's egg appeared in the Sky Palace. Wu Yan was the first to exclaim in shock. Wu Yan could not help but feel surprised. After all, she had never expected that demon commander Lu Wu, who was sleeping in the third realm, would actually die. According to the information in the jade slip, there were a total of 3 people, including the one who died in the mouth of ravenous wolf's split soul. The 3 of them went through a lot of hardships and finally entered the Sky Palace through the star door of the army destroyer Star Ocean. However, not long after they entered the palace, they were discovered by countless demon beasts and were hunted by them. Fortunately, the 3 of them were rescued by the 9 divisions of demon commanders and were temporarily safe. The 3 of them found out that the 9 divisions of demon commanders had been teleported to the Sky Palace from the beginning and discovered a shocking secret. Demon Commander Lu Wu was already dead. At the place where the demon commander died, a ferocious beast of the Howling Moon Wolf clan devoured the demon commander's corpse and produced a demon egg. Then, it occupied one of the giant doors that led to the depths of the Sky Palace. The 3 of them were ordered by the 9 divisions of demon commanders to investigate the demon egg. However, they were accidentally discovered by a group of demon beasts. They fled all the way to the ruins of a medicinal garden before they managed to shake off their pursuers. However, they did not stay in the medicinal garden for long, as they were discovered by the late divine transformation realm ravenous wolf's split soul again. In their panic, the 3 of them coincidentally met Ning Fan, who was about to enter the Sky Palace. What happened after that was Ning Fan saving them. The news of Lu Wu's death made Wu Yan, Shi Ran, and the other female demons sigh. As for Yuan Yao, she was worried about something else. With Lu Wu's death, I wonder if the Star Palace key has fallen into the hands of that mysterious wolf demon. Star spirits could only exist in the power of the stars. Ning Fan was not the only one who recognized the star spirits. He might not be the only one who guessed that the Star Palace was the star of the Celestial Sovereign. The entire Star Palace was the power of the Celestial Sovereign. In order to obtain this power, one must find the center of the Star Palace and activate the star power with the key. In Yuan Yao's opinion, the key must be in the hands of Lu Wu. Since Lu Wu was dead and his corpse was eaten, the key naturally fell into the hands of the mysterious wolf demon. I must obtain the Emperor's Star. I must snatch the key from the hands of that wolf demon. Yuan Yao's eyes were filled with seriousness. Thea? Ning Fan felt like laughing. Of course, he would not tell Yuan Yao that the key to obtain the Emperor's Star had already been given to him by Lu Daochen. In one of his dreams, the key disappeared and led to another dream which condensed into a star power chess piece. The key was not in the hands of the wolf demon but in his own hands. Looking at Yuan Yao's serious expression, Ning Fan thought that if he told her about the chess piece, would this woman risk her life to get the star of the Celestial Sovereign? With your identity, why did you come to fight for the Emperor's Star? As far as I know, even though this Emperor's Star is the inheritance of the Celestial Sovereign, it has gone through too many years of mountain shattering. There is not much power left in it. At most, it can only help a divine transformation realm expert advance by 1 level. With your strength, you don't seem to need such a useless item, do you? Useless? You said that the power of the star of the Celestial Sovereign is useless. It seems like you haven't even figured out the use of the star of the celestial sovereign, yet you came to this sky palace to fight for it. Yuan Yao laughed out of anger. However, when she thought about it carefully, it was understandable that Ning Fan did not know the true power of the star of the celestial sovereign. If you don't mind, can you tell me about the true use of the Emperor Star? Of course, if you think that I'm an outsider and don't deserve to know any secrets, you don't have to tell me. After all, in my eyes, the Emperor Star is just a tool for me to advance by one level. That's all. Ning Fan smiled playfully. His smile was harmless, but it made Yuan Yao avert her eyes subconsciously. She bit her lips and said hesitantly, "It's not like I can't tell you. After all, it's unlikely for you to get the Emperor Star. In the eyes of ordinary divine transformation realm experts like you, this item only has one use, and that is to improve your cultivation base. However, in the eyes of some true immortal realm experts, it has a second and third use. The second use is to comprehend the Black Star technique of the Celestial Sovereign. However, the power of this Celestial Sovereign star has been severely depleted. Unless one has great luck, the probability of comprehending the Black Star technique with this small Emperor Star is less than 1 in a million. Thus, no true immortal realm experts would go to war for a mere broken star of the Celestial Sovereign star. However, this is the reason why I came to fight for this star. I need the power of the Black Star. I don't need too much. Just a trace of it is enough. With this power, it should be able to help my younger sister suppress the killing intent of the Gui Vein and slay the Scarlet Dragon. Then she will no longer have to worry about that shameful matter." When Yuan Yao mentioned Bei Xiaomen, she unnaturally changed the way she addressed her. She did not call her daughter but called her younger sister. For some unknown reason, she did not want Ning Fan to know that she was already a mother. Perhaps, she was afraid that Ning Fan would look down on her after knowing about it. "So, it's because of your younger sister?" Ning Fan nodded his head. Based on his speculation, Yuan Yao was Bei Xiaomen's elder sister. If that's the case, the reason why Yuan Yao came to seize the star of the Celestial Emperor was just to help Bei Xiaomen, the unruly lady, stop her menstruation, slay the Scarlet Dragon. The Scarlet Dragon is the menstrual blood. Other than Bei Xiaomen, most female cultivators would get rid of their Scarlet Dragon. Otherwise, they would have to go into secluded cultivation once a month, and the pain would last for 6 to 7 days. If it wasn't because of her menstrual problem, Bei Xiaomen's innate potential would have long reached the late divine transformation realm. Would she be so weak that she would be bullied by Ning Fan? If I obtain the star of the Celestial Emperor, I will split a trace of the Black Star power to help you treat your younger sister's injuries. You? Yuan Yao was a little surprised. Ning Fan would actually help her? Even though I don't think you can kill the Void Refinement Realm Demon Wolf and seize the key to the Star Palace, I still have to thank you for your kindness. Yuan Yao's heart was filled with warmth. With her identity, there were naturally countless people who would express their goodwill to her for various benefits. However, those goodwill were rarely sincere. Her cultivation base was too strong and her status was too high. It was lonely being at the top. She rarely had friends and there were even fewer people she could trust. Besides, she had never relied on anyone and always took charge of everything on her own. However, now that her cultivation base was sealed and her injuries were too severe, she could not recover her cultivation base. Thus, she needed Ning Fan's protection no matter where she went. This kind of feeling was really nostalgic. "What's the third use of the Emperor Star?" Ning Fan asked again. "The third use is to open the secret places of some of the ancient heavenly quartz seals. Of course, the Emperor Star is already damaged. With this small amount of star power, it won't be able to do anything. Thus, there won't be any true immortals who are too strong who will pay the price and descend to the lower worlds to fight for this star. If the power of this Emperor Star was as good as before, it would definitely not be just a group of divine transformation realm cultivators who would fight for it. However, it was also because the Emperor Star was damaged that he had the possibility to obtain it." "I see." Ning Fan did not say anything else and sorted out his thoughts. With the key in his hands, if there is no need for him to compete with greed, He could directly sneak into the Heaven Palace and take another path to obtain the Emperor's star in secret. However, before that he could do Wu Yan and the other women a favor. According to the information provided by General Lei and Mu, they seem to have mentioned the remains of a medicinal garden. There might be the ashes of the Emperor medicines that you need there. With these, you and Shiran will certainly satisfy the Spirit King when you return to the Spirit King Palace. You will be rewarded handsomely. Are we going to the remains of that medicinal garden? Those few lightning generals are being targeted by the wild beasts there. Will they be in danger? Wu Yan was a little worried. She was afraid that Ning Fan would fall into unnecessary danger because of her mission. I'm not afraid. If it's just Greed's separated soul, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. There was another piece of information that he did not tell the women. The jade slips that the two Star Lords gave Ning Fan mentioned one thing. In the past, the disappearance of Star Lord Greed was to enter the Heaven Palace. His purpose was to find Demon Marshal Lu Wu's corpse, devour and refine it so that he could break free from his star spirit body. Both Pajun and Qi Sha did not think that Greed could succeed. However, the truth proved that Greed succeeded. Only Ning Fan knew that the wolf demon who devoured Lu Wu's corpse in the Heaven Palace and caused countless killings was none other than Greed. Currently, Greed had produced a demon egg and was sleeping in it, trying to break free from his star spirit body. Thus, there was nothing to fear. If it's just Greed's separated soul, a late divine transformation realm soul, Ning Fan would kill all of them. The ship soared straight to the peak of the galaxy and flew into the star door. As soon as they landed on the ground, before Ning Fan could put away the ship, countless demonic beasts that were at least at the Gold Core realm in all directions noticed the intruders. They let out strange roars and surrounded them. There were at least several thousand of them. Die! Ning Fan swept across with his sword sense. All of the Gold Core realm demonic beasts were minced into pieces by Mo Nian. After putting away the ship, Ning Fan looked towards the north. There, ancient trees towered into the sky. There seemed to be some remains hidden in the deepest part of the forest. Is it there? Ning Fan flicked his sleeves and displayed his teleportation ability. He carried the women and flew towards the ruins. Chapter 323. It was an ancient forest that was filled with dense fog. Every ancient tree was 10,000 zhang tall. The forest was filled with a desolate and ancient qi. This ancient tree was known as the Iron Tree. It was known for its toughness. Even a divine transformation realm cultivator might not be able to break this tree with their full strength. Ning Fan retracted his traveling light and let the ladies down. He stopped under a towering tree and stared at the two marks on it. He casually struck out a sword qi and carved the third mark on the tree. They had been flying towards the ruins of the herb garden for a few days. Within these few days, they had almost traveled 100 million li away. Instead, they had passed by this tree 3 times. This is the 3rd time we have passed by this tree. There must be an illusion formation in this ancient forest. Moreover, the level of the illusion formation is a little high. The purple star in his left eye flashed. His Fuli eye, which was able to see through illusions, could not see through the veins of this illusion formation. Ning Fan's expression became slightly solemn. If they could not see through this illusion formation, they could only rely on their luck to wander aimlessly in the forest. The probability of them reaching the ruins was a little low. He did not know what kind of luck the 2 lightning generals had had to enter the ruins while they were fleeing for their lives. Roared at the side of the forest. An early nascent soul realm wild beast roared furiously. Behind it were tens of nascent soul realm beasts. Ning Fan was already used to the attacks of these demonic beasts. He clenched his 5 fingers and the sunlight condensed into a golden spear. Then he slammed his palm on the huge spear. In an instant, the bodies of these wild beasts and nascent soul realm beasts were penetrated by the parting sun spear and killed. The ladies were already numb to Ning Fan's ability to instantly kill early divine transformation realm cultivators. Instead, they were more interested in this illusion formation in the forest. If I'm not mistaken, The illusion formation in this forest should be the illusory wood ancient formation. Unless one's formation mastery reaches the life immortal realm, any cultivator who enters this formation will get lost and can only rely on their luck. Yuan Yao's phoenix eyes were filled with worry. Even though she recognized this formation, she was not proficient in the Tao of formations. Thus, she could not break it. If she had a storage pouch with her, she could use some magic treasures to break the illusion formation. However, she had lost her storage pouch? That may not be the case. Little Cucumber has 2 younger sisters, Wu Yen and Shi Ran, right? They might have a way. Since the Spirit King Palace had sent someone here, they must have brought something to break the illusory formation. Upon hearing this, Wu Yen and Shi Ran shook their heads helplessly. The Spirit King should have given us some treasures that can break the illusory formation, but they are all in the hands of the purple concubine. The 2 of us don't have any treasures that can break the immortal formation. Otherwise, we would have taken them out long ago instead of hiding them. If that's the case, we can only go around in circles in this formation. If we go around in circles 2 more times, we will definitely make all of you want to die. Yu Lingkong spread out her hands and similarly had a helpless expression on her face. Ning Fan did not say much. Instead, he tried to use the power of the heart formation to probe the formation light. Although he could not completely see through the illusory formation, he could slightly see the fog in the formation. Just as he was about to further activate the power of the immortal formation, the female corpse who had always been quiet beside him suddenly pulled his sleeve and spoke in a voice as soft as a mosquito. But, Faye. It was just a simple sentence, but it made all the women look at the female corpse in a new light. You know the way? So, head. The female corpse held Ning Fan's hand and began to lead the way with light steps. She remembered that she had been to this place a long, long time ago. She was not supposed to remember it. However, the purple Zoisha had repaired part of her sea of consciousness, allowing her to recover some of her memories. Could it be? Ning Fan's heart tightened. Could this medicinal garden be the one that Wei Liang often stayed in my previous life? If that's the case, it is not strange that the female corpse knows the way. Wei Liang is indeed getting better. She is recovering her memories. Step by step, they passed through the forest and the trees. None of the fog and the illusory formation could stop the female corpse's footsteps. Her pace was not fast. Sometimes, she would even stop from time to time as if she was pondering. After just one day, she led the group of people through the dense fog and arrived at the center of the forest. There was a dilapidated remains of a palace here. It did not belong to the architectural style of the Star Palace. It seemed like it had been moved here by someone. Among the dilapidated walls and ruins, there was a decayed medicinal garden. Inside the medicinal garden, there was extremely fertile spiritual soil. It was the precious soil that used to plant sovereign medicines. On this spiritual soil, there were still many traces of the existence of sovereign medicines. However, all of them had turned into thick piles of ashes. It's the ashes of sovereign medicines. Sister Wu Yen, our mission will be considered completed once we find these herb ashes. Not only that, with such a large amount of herb ashes, even the Spirit King will remember it as a great contribution. Even our clan will receive many benefits. Shi Ran's small face was filled with joy. Wu Yen did not say much. She just looked at Ning Fan with gratitude. If it wasn't for Ning Fan, Wu Yen and Shi Ran would not be able to find these ashes. They might even have died on the Star Island. Thank you. What are you thanking me for? If you really want to thank me, how about? Ning Fan revealed a teasing smile. Immediately, Wu Yan's face turned red like a peach. I haven't thought about it yet. I just want to say that if you really want to thank me, help me take care of Luo Yun and Wan Air in the future. You seem to have misunderstood me? Why, you obviously mean that. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm going to collect the ashes. After being teased by Ning Fan, Wu Yan's face turned red. She rolled her eyes at Ning Fan and patted her storage pouch. She took out a magical treasure flower basket and began to collect the ashes. She was blatantly teased by Ning Fan. Ning Fan shook his head with a faint smile. He did not have the intention to force himself on this woman. He just wanted to let nature take its course. He withdrew his expression and his eyes fell on a green stone at the center of the herb garden. Beside the green stone, the female corpse moved slightly. She did not care that the green stone was covered with ashes. She gently stroked the green stone and her eyes were filled with emotion and nostalgia. In the past, the female corpse would never be able to make such an expression. Butterfly. Even though she had temporarily sealed her broken sea of consciousness, she still remembered that there was once a young lady who fell in love with a butterfly in this place. Whale Young, Ning Fan's eyes were filled with pity. However, at the next moment, it turned into a cold ray of light. A ray of faint purple formation light rose in the herb garden without any warning. Within the formation light, countless purple threads tightly entangled the female corpse. Some of the purple threads even moved towards Ning Fan himself. Who is it? It's attacking me and Whale Yang. Without hesitation, she ran. Wu Yen, Yuan Yao and Yu Lingkong took out their magic treasures and got into battle mode. As for Ning Fan, his fingertips were surrounded by golden purple sand, which melted the purple threads. With a sway of his body, he immediately appeared beside the female corpse and helped her neutralize all the formation power. Then, he pulled her into his arms. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Abruptly, he stomped on the ground. "Show yourself." A voice that sounded like the rumbling of 10,000 thunders resounded. Under this voice, 10 beautiful figures were forced out of the void space. The leader of the group was a woman dressed in purple robes with a tassel tied around her waist. Her lips were red like cinnabar and her black hair was tied up in a bun. Her appearance was gentle, but her eyes carried a hint of coldness. However, there was also a hint of surprise in her eyes. "I didn't expect that an ant who relies on refined corpses would have such a huge improvement in his strength. However, it's a pity that I've already set up a forbidden puppet formation here. This time, you can forget about getting any puppets or refined corpses to help you. Your strength is no longer a threat to me. Today, you will pay for the crime of contradicting me." This group of women was none other than the demon concubine of the Spirit King Palace, who was led by Nalan Zi. She ran Wian. "Hand over the medicinal ashes that you've collected. Kill this Liu Bei." Nalan Zi ordered in a cold voice. "I refuse." She ran and Wu Yen refused without any hesitation. "Humph. If that's the case, I won't show any mercy anymore. After I've dealt with Liu Bei, I'll bring the two of you back to the palace and await Lord Spirit King's punishment." Kill. The corners of Nalan Zi's lips curved into a cold smile. She waved her hand and the 9 concubines behind her immediately launched their attacks. However, before they could launch their attacks, Nalan Zi's face was filled with disbelief. A pair of Fu Li wings suddenly grew out from Ning Fan's back. With a flap of the purple wings, he appeared in front of concubine Zi in the blink of an eye. He held the female corpse with one of his hands and pointed his other finger at the 10 concubines. 10 shadows were pointed at the 10 demon concubines. "Nalan Zi, your tone is a little too arrogant. Do you really think that you can take my life with just a peak divine transformation realm cultivation?" Blood-red baleful chi dyed the sky red. Under this baleful chi, Nalan Zi felt that she was as insignificant as a grain of sand in the ocean, not even worth mentioning. What level of killing intent is this? On that day, the 3 divine guards of the 7 Apricot City had also exclaimed in surprise. However, that killing intent was borrowed by Ning Fan through trickery. It belonged to Great Emperor Ancient Chaos. Today, this sky-piercing baleful chi was the result of Ning Fan's slaughter along the way. It belonged to him. He was no longer the same as before. So what if you're Nalan Zi? That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.